Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to OWC 2022 Semifinals weekend. We're rolling on into a Saturday night full of OSU this evening. We've got several matches for your viewing pleasure. Going to be starting off in just a second here with Canada versus Australia in the losers bracket. Sure to be a very exciting matchup between top two teams. I'm this one guy. Joining me tonight, the commentary duo to the Grave Chillier pair. Mr. Pear, good evening. What are your thoughts? Canada, Australia.
Good evening, Mr. T1G. I am very excited for this match. I feel like I say that, and you could say that about a lot of these semifinals matches. You start to get up to, these top 8 teams in these final few weekends of the tournament. And this is a matchup that I don't think many people were expecting to see this week. You had Canada versus South Korea last week, ended up in a 5-6 loss for Canada in very unfortunate fashion and tiebreaker. South Korea moving on, of course, and Australia also taking a tiebreaker loss to Romania, who unfortunately fell to China earlier today, 3-6. So now we're looking at this 4th to 6th seed matchup in the losers bracket semifinals, which is not something that I don't think many people wanted to see, nor did we expect to see given the caliber of these two teams. So really looking for a big performance from Australia to prove to us why they have made it this far in the losers bracket, beating out Japan and the Philippines. Now coming this week to Canada, who is, I think, kind of one of the favorites to, get top 3 this year, potentially.
Yeah, this is a really interesting spot, I think, for these two teams. Coming off of last week, Australia back-to-back wins in losers bracket, kind of riding high on that with a couple quality victories over Japan and over the Philippines. In Canada, I'm really curious to see what their performance ends up being like today. When you lose from 5-2 up, taken all the way back to tiebreaker, and then end up losing the tiebreaker in really dominant fashion, might I add. The mental state after that, even a week later, is something that, for some teams it's good, and for some teams it's bad. Some teams can overcome that adversity, and some teams, just say, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. They get really down. So it's going to be a tough ask. I think we'll have to see what Canada's made of mentally, as well as what their performance looks like this week, because I think they had some underperformances, some mispicks, some not as good of rosters for some maps as they could have had. And that all kind of contributed to that comeback win for South Korea. So it's going to be a tough one. I think both these teams really, really want to win. Both these teams probably feel like they can win. I think Canada is arguably the favorite because they do have the depth of roster, but Australia's got MREC, and that's, that ace up your sleeve, that you really can't ever count out.
Yeah, that's the big thing for Australia. If they have MREC awake and ready to go for their matches, key awake and ready to go, then he is obviously the biggest portion of their team on a lot of these late stage matches when you have a player that can come out and full combo, borderline full combo some of the hardest maps in the pool because they're just that good at the game. It's a massive help, and it's something that we see with Poland too, with players like Malashevsky, where they can kind of come out and just rock it and give their team that inherent advantage. I guess some statistics to back up what you were mentioning earlier, at least about Canada being the favorites in this match. Current predictions for each team to win this match: 13.8% of a total of about 1,130 votes thinks that Australia will win, as opposed to 86.2% of those 1,100 plus votes think that Canada is going to win this match. So based on community input, they agree with you. Canada are the favorites for this one, but we have yet to see a map played. We don't want to make any of these early assumptions. Australia, unfortunately, banning out that Hidden 2. I know a lot of people are really eager to see the Hidden 2 this week. We're starting to get to the weeks where Hidden 2 starts to get a little bit out of the range of most non-reading players.
Yeah, I think the picks and bans for this match going in were kind of crystallized. It's kind of another matchup like earlier today we saw with Russia versus France, right? Where there's a team that's very good and has been picking a ton of speed, and then there's a team that is a little more well-rounded in their picks in Canada here. So Australia really got by last week picking nothing but speed. Like every map that they picked in those two matches was a left-hand, a tapping-focused map. And so you see Canada coming out and just saying, all right, we're going to ban DT1, we're going to ban Free Mod 2, two super tapping heavy maps. And then Australia, the opposite direction. You know, they're saying, we want to play those mechanics. We want to avoid giving Canada gimmick maps. And they go ahead and ban out No Mod 5 Hidden 2. I feel like really no surprises there with any of those bans. It's been pretty consistent. I feel like you're going to ban Free Mod 2 and then one of those first three DTs if you're a team that's doesn't want to give your opponents tapping maps, and basically that's exactly what happened here. And then insta Hidden 1, like they're ready to go for Canada. They want some hidden aim, and they are going to get it with the first map of the match.
Listen, I think I like to call this strategy from Canada Zoodinator Go Kill. And am I allowed to say that on Twitch? Someone bleep that out.
Sure, TOS might not be the biggest fan of that one.
Well, either way, I think that Zoody is kind of, one of the biggest reasons that Canada would want to go for the kind of the start of the Hidden 1 at the beginning of this match. They have such a good Hidden roster across all 8 players, I think, for, most cases on this team. And then when you add in that kind of X factor of Zoodinator, who this is her skill set, hidden aim at this level and this style of map is something that she is very good at. It gives you an awesome opportunity to open up this match with a pick that you potentially have a guaranteed FC on if Zoody is playing well, and 3 very good backing scores to go with it. Australia, on the other hand, while not generally regarded as a super strong hidden roster, they don't normally have players that kind of come out and rock hidden as a main any of these years. They do have a lot of players that have hidden on with Hard Rock or DT or anything, and that is enough to give some of these players a pretty good command over the mod itself. But you can already see they're having a little bit more trouble kind of fielding that full 4 here at the beginning.
And one thing interesting to point out about Hidden 1 between these two teams, so both of them played it at least once last week, once each, in fact. Canada had the top score in the entire round on last week's Hidden 1 at 3.3 million. Australia had the second best score on last week's Hidden 1 out of the 14 times it was played, but they were 700k lower. They got 2.6 million. That is a big gap from 1 to 2 across an entire week of OWC play. A lot of teams that were very good played that map, and only Canada was able to get a really solid score on that HD1. So it really goes to show just how strong they are on this type of pick. I mean, like you said, Zoodinator is probably the best Hidden 1 player in the game right now, and the rest of their roster, no slouches either between Xylus, Rupertian, and Ryuke. So this is a very, very Canada favorite first pick. I like them coming out, just being ready to go with this one.
Yeah, she definitely sits up there, and I think there's a reason we're talking about it so much is because it is time and time proven again that it's that impressive. But there's almost that roster of hidden players where, like, if you see them in for a hidden one map, you should be terrified. You have the Zudinators, you have the Taquitos, you have the Malashevskis, all these players that, and all the ones I'm forgetting too, that are gonna pop in for these teams that will just rock you on a hidden one. And 4 minutes of consistency-based, higher BPM hidden one. This is almost 230 BPM on these semifinals hidden one here. So you're really starting to ramp up the intensity with that. And that is, that's kind of another key point of something that might give Australia a small in on this is they have a very capable, like, faster mechanics roster. And, maybe some of Canada's players will be caught off guard more so you could make that argument than that, but I don't expect too much here. It's going to be Xylus and Vivace. Also, Dumi and Ryuke trading some breaks here at the beginning. Everyone just getting used to the map. Looks like one more set of breaks for Australia at the beginning here on one player.
Yeah, that's several breaks. I mean, 4 of the FC's already gone before we even get to 200 combo in. The intro kind of starts at you pretty quick. It throws you right in the map. There is an early break from Emrek. Was asleep until very, very shortly before this match, so is unlikely to be properly warmed up at this point in time. You can see that on a couple of uncharacteristic early breaks and act drop further for him. We'll see what happens over the course of the match. I'm sure he will be able to warm up, but right now, not really ready. And there's a break from LR7, so that is all of the FC's gone from Australia. Meanwhile, guess who? Zudinator herself holding the full combo down for Canada, and Ryuke in hot pursuit, only 70 combo behind her. Going to take a decent lead here early on for Canada because Australia just really is not having a great time of this.
Really, honestly, nobody besides Zudinator is having a super good time of this. Rupertian really the only one here that's starting to get a little bit more comfortable on this pick here. But, we say things for good reason here. And Zudinator, this is kind of Canada's game on these faster hidden mechanics maps, is that, while you have all of these players in the lobby, there's 8 players in the lobby right now, and all of them are extremely skilled, very talented mechanics players who can, take a great command of any of these picks here. But the consistency is where it counts, and Zudinator has that consistency. That's Canada's game on hidden ones here. Rupert doing a great job to build up a combo right now just to make sure that Australia's supporting scores now don't mean anything. And Canada is going to continue to pull it here. Emrek finding some misses just for lack of warm-up, I would assume, if he is recently waking up. Accuracy's in favor of Canada as well.
Yeah, I mean, halfway through, you can pretty much call this one already. Zudinator, takes on 2 players from Australia on her own, to say nothing of the rest of the Canada roster that now has Ryuke and Rupertian on those solid backing scores. This is what happens when you have more than 2 maps that your team isn't great at, but you only have 2 bans. If you're looking at Australia, right? They had to ban out Hidden 2. They wanted, can't double ban the Hidden Pool, so go with the Nomad 5 as the other ban. And at that point, it's just there's going to be something that's basically a GG angle, and that's looking like it's this Hidden one here. This was like we said before, it's the expected first pick, and they're performing as such. This is what you know and love from Canada, like hidden aim, and they're just running away with it. This is going to be a very, very one-sided win, but it's not really going to say all that much because this is just a skill set for them that's really strong and one that's not that strong for Australia.
Yeah, they didn't look too good at the beginning of the map, but they've done a great job of kind of figuring it out towards the ending here. Rupert is going to find a little bit of a later break, but not before he has put up 500,000 plus score here. Ryuke all the way up at 850 combo. Xylus now pushing 500. Couple breaks on the side of Australia. And Canada with, a little bit lower, obviously, of a team score than they had last week on the hidden one. Nothing crazy compared to what that was, but still very, very respectable. Going to look to put up close to that 2.5 million here. Ryuke and Zudinator are going to bring it into the beginning. This is what you expect from country's first picks here. You want both sides to come out with their first pick of the match and do really well on it because, you kind of expect to lose the other team's picks in these tournament matches. And Zudinator going to pull out the FC into the start of this pick. And now we go into Australia, who's going to try and do the exact same thing that Canada just did. They're going to try and pick something that pretty much shuts Canada out from potentially winning the map and get themselves on the board.
It's going to be I think, tough here for Australia early on because Emmerich needs to get warmed up. 288k bottom score from him is obviously not what you would want and not what you would ever normally get. Also, Zudin or Ryuke 2v4?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a thing that happened. 1.3 million. Actually, Canada was
Zudi and anyone.
Canada was 10,000 points away from winning by a larger margin than Australia's total score.
They won by 1.3 mil. They could have 2v4'd on any pair.
Yeah. So just to back up the explanation of how good a pick that was for Team Canada, that I think kind of says it all. So here's the thing now: if you're Australia, right, you have your best player clearly not super ready to go, needs some time. Do you hold your good picks and go something risky early because you know you're not going to get your best performances? Or do you still think okay, we're picking our best maps early just in the hopes of, being able to pull off a good score even if we're not 100% ready to go?
Yeah, that is kind of a big question for Australia because, I think it's kind of 50-50 with them sometimes. Australia has a really good kind of depth in their roster that is overshadowed a lot of the time because people focus so much on the effect that Emmerich has on the roster. And by no means do I want to belittle the performance that any other player on the Australian team can put up here or that Emmerich normally does, but there are certain days where Emmerich is the difference between Australia being the level of a team that they are, and there are days where Emmerich is not that difference maker. And Australia needs to figure out really quickly if today is either one of those days and fast. Because if it's a day where their players are all playing well and they're confident in their picks and they know exactly what to do, they won't need Emmerich for the first few picks of this match. They'll have at least one or two things in the pool that they can play by themselves. And that gives Emmerich a chance to warm up, and then they can maybe start to slot in some of the stuff that we expect to see when Emmerich is into the lobby. So, fingers crossed for Australia for their first pick almost, where it's do they have that roster today? Is everyone feeling good? Is everyone ready to go? Or is, are you just kind of telling Emmerich to suck it up and warm up in match?
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to give him some time because he is in for this, but it's a very long, very slow map. So, it's 4 minutes and 20 seconds where he can just kind of casually groove a little bit. Much slower map than the hidden one that we just played, or at least slower feeling. I mean, it's 210 BPM still, but it's a lot more about slider aim instead of raw aim and tapping. So, I mean, he'll be in for everything, but this is extending out that time. I don't actually like this as a first pick for Australia, if I'm being honest, under normal circumstances. I think maybe the situation just dictates, hey, we need to do something that's not going to be one of those picks we feel like we have to win. We're going to go with one of our more risky picks because similarly to Hidden 1, Canada is really good at free mod 1 maps because they have a roster that will just have comfortable mod players who are really good at consistency maps. I mean, Zudinator can probably drop HDHR in on this if she wants and just go ham, kind of similarly to the Hidden 1 that we just saw. So this is, I think, Australia saying we're gonna go risky pick early and see if we can't get it together over the course of a couple picks here to start the match off before we really need to start winning our own picks.
Yeah, this is an interesting start for Australia here. We wish them the best on their first pick of the match here. Obviously, no overmodding going on for Australia here. A little bit of overmodding on Zudinator running the hidden hard rock for their team. But Australia, kind of opening up with a pretty aim-oriented free mod here at the beginning. While, again, this is a team that is pretty mechanics favored, there's a lot of other areas of mechanics that you can focus on besides aim, and aim is something that Canada is very good at a lot of the time here. So maybe the awkward nature of this map will give Australia some advantage. We know players like Doomy are very good at these, kind of closer to AR9 aim picks, and here very consistent at them. Has been one of the best players on the Australian roster alongside Emmerich this year. Milo saying right before this that he was playing on a friend's setup. I'm not sure how much truth there is to that, but he does find the first break on the side of Australia. Ryuke found one pretty early for Canada, so it's going to be slight advantage to them, but nothing massive here for a 4-minute plus pick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why he would feel the need to lie about that. So I'm gonna just
not warm and making excuses. I don't know. I doubt it.
Maybe, but I don't know. I mean, the only
doubt
person I'm really expecting not to be warm is Emrek, as we talked about. But we'll see. Like we said, this map is such an antithesis because it's just like, I don't want to be rude, but it's kind of bland, right? It's just this basic sort of slider aim, especially for the Nomad players. So it's kind of saying, we're just going to be chill here for a while, and it lets you build up a ton of combo. I don't know. I don't really like super long maps like this, I'm not gonna lie. But,
I mean, the song isn't particularly exciting, but, you know. The mapping is fun. There's big sliders and high velocity.
Yeah, and the players are comfortable with it clearly across the lobby. The only breaks are those early misses from Ryuke and Milo. No other breaks anywhere as of yet. I do like Australia having Milo on their roster for maps like this, as he immediately breaks it the second I said that. Milo dabbles in a little bit of slider aim with Hard Rock, so I do think he's a good shout for this map, but of course the break
apparently Zudinator does too. Oh goodness. I think that suffix break was kind of an unfortunate spot for Australia here. You know, you hear people talk about it a lot of the time. You run the double Nomad, and you want those Nomad players to come through and put up the high scores, because obviously it's most of the time an easier route than taking Hidden or Hard Rock on most free mods here. So, the fact that Australia has dropped one of those Nomad combos is not amazing for them. But with Xylus, Rupert, and Ryuke breaking, it's going to start to not matter really quickly, as Canada now has one FC only going up against Australia's 2.
That's a really bad place to miss, right in the middle there. We know how hard that caps out your score with the double FC on Doomy and Emrek, plus Suffix and Milo both recovering some combo. That lead is going to start to come back over. Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be like a big shock if Australia win this, since it is their own first pick. But the way this map started out, it does feel like a little bit of a surprise that they're able to maybe make a comeback here in the back half of the pick.
Looking a little bit better on the consistency for Australia towards the ending here. Really able to maintain that confidence here. Emrek, despite not being warmed up, looks a lot better on this than he did on the previous pick, regardless of what score he ends up with. Significantly improved from that first one there. Just needed a little bit of Hidden to get into the swing of things. Decided to stick it out here, and Milo and Suffix both recovering from their unfortunate kind of like matching break there towards the ending, which is really helping to neutralize some of these combo buildups from Canada. Maybe a little bit slower now, but Rupert does trade Milo's break here, which does favor Australia.
Yeah, you've got that little bit of mod advantage thanks to Zudinator, but those late breaks from Rupert and Ryuke, even with Milo breaking, you've got Doomy and Emrek still holding Suffix breaks, but the combo advantage is still on Australia's side. They will maintain that lead. Oh dear, Emrek breaking there. Zudinator has the mod advantage, and now they have combo advantage as well. It goes right back over, and that's going to be a stole. What?
Suffix traded though. No.
It spin to win, spin to win, spin to win. And Canada holds on. What was that ending? 9,000 points the final margin. I don't understand what we just saw at the end there, because it looked like it was just going to go to Canada, and then they kind of trolled because Xylus, I don't know if he thought the map was over, so he started running in smoke. That was very, very strange to see, but Canada managed to hold on anyway.
Man, that was going to be so close. Xylus's break at the ending threw it over to Australia, and Suffix unfortunately found a slider break right afterwards, and I think it was just enough to kind of even out those breaks at the ending. Man, Doomy with an outstanding score for Australia. I mentioned his name at the beginning, has been the kind of player that you think of on Australia that's been right up at the top with Emrek for the entire tournament, and, kind of continues to perform well through these matches. Canada, barely, and I feel like I could say that 100 more times, winning that pick. 9,000 points just on the back of, Zudinator and Xylus with the supporting combo. At the ending, being able to outscore Doomy on the Nomad. I think, the real difference there was actually the fact that Zudinator was the one FC on the side of Team Canada with Hidden Hard Rock. That mod advantage really giving that extra score that they needed. Without that, they would not have won.
Yeah, that straight up just goes to Australia without the overmod. If Zudi's hard rock only or something like that, or hidden only in somebody else's hard rock with the same score, Australia takes it. But the mod advantage, hidden hard rock FC does it. And Canada is just going to continue in the same vein. They go hidden 1 first pick, and they're going to go hidden 3 second. Clearly, the strategy in play here for them, you know, then they probably go like free mod 3 after this. They're trying to keep Australia off of their comfort picks, which are, you know, the more mechanics tapping focus stuff. This one, you know, flow aim, alt kind of map. Again, a Canada favored pick, but this one I think is a little bit harder to be super consistent on because some of those patterns get really difficult in the ending, especially like you have the big space pattern and then the last Ki that are all really difficult. So we'll see how the players perform on those once they get there.
Yeah, looking for some good stuff on this match here. What was the, I think it was in China versus Romania, we saw some very good scores on this from players like David. And even then, you know, I don't know if, did we see an FC on this one? Was this the one that Romania like went to almost FCs on? I wasn't sure if it was this.
Badu had 2 misses at 1500 plus combo. And David had a 1300 combo. So those are both breaks in like that last Ki section. No FCs, though Eternum did have an S rank. So we've seen some pretty good scores on this, but we've seen a lot of players struggling once they get to that really big diff spike at the end. That's the hardest section of this map. And it's been baring its teeth. So hopefully nobody gets snapped up.
Could be the consistency on this one too. The ending of this map is really the whole difficult part of it. You know, it's really surprising whenever you see someone going through this and then you hit that ending section and you see some combo on the board here. Not a bad alt roster from either side here. You've got Dumi and Emrek. I think that's going to be kind of a staple too that we're going to be seeing for this match for Australia. I got Mavs and LR7 in for the other two here. LR7's going to find a bit of an over-aim on that first cut stream pattern here, and Rupert is going to trade it on those back and forths. Very difficult to read with hidden. They're so close together, but you do have to wiggle them if you don't want to experience the RNG of trying to middle like a singular pixel. But
it's one thing to do that no mod, but with hidden, it's like trying to play that sort of thing is really hard.
It's back and forth squares, perfect overlapping. Really, again, easy to miss some patterns in this map. It's such high intensity patterns. Like the entire map is just full of these very mechanically difficult patterns. You have to have your aim on lock for this type of thing. But we're a quarter of the way in. We've still only seen one break. Here's a pretty big Ki coming up right now, though.
This is where you start. This is where you really start to see that big difficulty increase in this map. LR7 is struggling here. I mean, not what you want to see. If you're going to see multiple breaks, I guess you'd rather them all be on one person, especially when Sari finds a miss for Canada, so that, you know, kind of helps trade things out. It's actually combo advantage Australia because Mavs has the FC and Rupert finds a break after already having found a break very early on. So you've got Xylis Zudinator against Dumi Emrek and Mavs. Mavs in for his first map, performing admirably here. This is what you really like to see out of some of those newer players to the roster who aren't in for as many picks. So, you know, if they can come in for their few maps and perform really well in them, that's going to be a huge boon because you're always going to expect Dumi and Emrek to do well, but it's a lot more about the backing scores. And right now, backing scores are giving about a 17-20K lead to Australia at the halfway mark.
This is a good spot for them. Not going to say any specific players at the expense of potentially cursing somebody here, but Jordan seems to have found a little bit more of a comfortable spot in this map. Was definitely over-aiming the first kind of few high-velocity streams. Now looking a little bit better on this. Canada's got 2 players looking good. Xylis and Sudinator haven't really found too much trouble yet. Big difference on those 2 dropped combos, though, like you were saying. If you want the misses, you want it on one player. Unfortunately for Canada, spreading it out a little bit here more than Australia. We're going to come into the last couple seconds of the map here. Mavs almost breaking, but Duke and Xylis are the ones to break.
And Sari as well, which is crucial for Australia to maintain their lead. Emrek matching Zudi. Mavs with the free combo as well as LR7. We come into the hardest part really here, this last quarter of the map, and Australia's put themselves in a very good spot. 200K in the lead. Emrek and Mavs holding the double FC down for the Australian boys. They
oh my god, they hit the wiggle.
Trying to bring it home. They're hitting the wiggles, they're hitting the space, and they even hit that bigger space pattern into the last section. Mavs with the slider break. Oh, you hate to see it. It is still combo advantage Australia. It is still score lead Australia. This is pretty much signed, sealed, and delivered at this point. It's a shame to see Mavs with that late break, but we're going to come into the ending. It's going to be Emrek doing Emrek things. It's going to be LR7 doing LR7 things, and Zudinator, of course, doing everything in her power to keep Canada in this one, but it's going to end up falling just slightly short. And that is going to be breakpoint Australia. 2-1 goes the score, and they're picked next to get this back on track.
Good on them for that one there. Emrek starting to look a little bit more comfortable now, and it's evident that it's giving Canada more trouble than they had at the beginning. You know, they might need that early break point there, but now that it's evened out with that, they're going to have to be careful. Zudinator 3 for 3 on FCs right now for the Canadian team. I'm still stunned at that play from Mavs. If you looked at that one space stream kind of after the refrain there, Mavs started tapping it late and hit all 50s and 100s on there and did not break somehow. I don't know by what kind of divine intervention we just witnessed with that, but you know, it was a massive help in Australia winning that map by a larger margin, and Mavs and Emrek really bringing that one home there. Doomy with an impressive score as well, 645, even Jordan 637. That was just an amazing team performance from Australia there. Having no score below 600k in the semifinals is classified as a pretty top tier team performance.
And off the back of that top tier team performance, Australia saying, all right, it's time. We're going to unleash some tapping prowess. See how it goes. It's going to be DT2 as their next pick. This is 240 BPM, stamina draining pick. Only AR10, so it's not going to challenge your reading, but it's going to definitely challenge your ability to tap consistently. Almost 3 minutes long. Very, very difficult. This is one of the higher starting maps in this pool overall. I think it's maybe the second highest starting map. Speed maps in 2022 starting system. But this is going to be an interesting spot to be in. So you've got Emrek, you've got Suffix, you've got Doomy, you've got LR7. Like, Australia just has such a good roster for this. If we think back to Canada versus South Korea, DT2, if they won it, they won that match 6-1. And they lose it, end up with a 5-2 lead, and it makes all the difference because they end up losing the match. So maybe taking a second thought about their roster and their performance on DT2 this week, because they want to lock this one in to avoid anything bad happening, because they do have a super strong speed roster that can definitely challenge Australia.
Yeah, something interesting to note for this time around is Canada does have Curtis. I think Curtis opted out of that DT map in the previous week, or I'm not sure what the entire story was, but Curtis ended up not playing. And that is, at least for Canada, one of the players that you kind of expect to see in on speed maps. That's what Curtis is on the team for, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, like Curtis is to Canada as, like, I don't know, Sawada is to the US. Like, that's what they're there for. They're meant for late stage speed. So the fact that Canada's at least rocking Curtis on the roster this year maybe feels a little, or on this match, they maybe feel a little bit better about, you know, playing this type of map or style here. Obviously, you don't ever question certain players on speed. You never question Emrek on speed. You never question Jordan LR7 on speed. And you never question Doomy on speed for Australia. So you've got 3 players on the Australian roster right now that without a doubt you know can play this type of map. On the side of Canada, we've got Curtis, Ryuke, and Xylus. Nick is probably the weakest speed player that's currently on here, but Nick does have a very proficient tapping skill that most people don't have. Nick has, like, wild stamina at 220 plus, easily. So I guess the difference will be whether or not he's able to use that to maintain it. Jordan's struggling on the Acura, along with Suffix and Emrek. Actually,
it's really going to be about the combo more so than about the accuracy, especially with Nick finding that break. He was definitely the weak link on Canada's roster on DT2 last time around, last week when they played this, so we'll see how he can perform this match. That act gap is actually holding the lead for Canada. It should go over here eventually because that's a 300-plus combo lead. But man, everybody looking pretty proficient on this so far. This was, I think, kind of the concern you might have is that both of these teams are really good at speed, so you end up almost coin flipping a map like this because both sides are going to do so well on it. And that's kind of what's happening here so far, with it just dead in the middle thanks to the ACK lead that Canada's still holding on to.
Yeah, that's a big difference maker right now. Highest stack in the lobby, currently held by Ryuke. I don't think anyone's surprised about that. Previous number 3 global, literally 4 playing DT speed. Emrek doing a good job holding up along with Jordan, Doomy, and Suffix. The entire Australian roster just looking so controlled right now. This breaks from Nick, unfortunate. Holding pretty decent accuracy, though. They're really just looking for a break from Australia, but that score gap is just getting slightly wider as the map progresses. And there's a break from Curtis. And
Suffix does trade it, so does Doomy. Okay, wait a sec. So this is 2v2 here, and there goes Emrek. It's now 2v1. Canada brings this back. Xylis and Ryuke look so comfortable. Xylis and Ryuke looking so comfortable. 98.37, 99.1 on Ryuke. This is going to go over to Canada, and this is a big, big break point for them to steal if they can hold on just another couple seconds. This is worst case scenario on a map like this for Australia. They really can't afford to lose this kind of map in this fashion.
Oh my gosh, that tragic set of breaks from Australia all at the same spot. There was Jordan LR7 too. They just lost all of their FCs in like the last quarter of the map, and Canada maintains on 2 players. Nick 1324 with a recovery at the ending as well, just adding insult to injury on that one, putting up the 600k. It's a 3-way S rank from Canada. And
one total miss. One total miss.
Look at that ACK on Ryuke. Yeah. Oh, man.
I mean, that's what Canada was missing on their team last year, right? Was literally Ryuke. His late stage skill cap is so high, especially on maps like this. He just comes out and does stuff, and you go, okay, yep, that's normal Ryuke things. He's 99.27 ACK FCs, the DT2.
Not fair.
Nobody else over 98.6, I think was next highest on Curtis, but had the break, unfortunately. And yeah, I mean, the ACK difference kind of tells the story by itself, and then when you throw in, the 2 FC to none, well, that was just Canada taking a point in the way that they know how on a map like that. And now breakpoint advantage goes back their way 3-1 with their own pick to come. Hidden pool is done, so Australia can breathe a sigh of relief that they don't have to deal with another hidden map, but there's still free mod 3, there's still free mod 4. So Canada's got the options if they want to go into some of those more gimmicky picks again, or if they want to start going somewhere else.
Man, I want to see free mod 3. I don't know about you. I absolutely love the song and map. I think they're both awesome. But in terms of what I think Canada is interested in picking here, they won Magmel. They just got that DT, and they were able to pull through on the previous free mod pick. So maybe going in for free mod again. It's a little bit different of a style of map. Some awkward stuff. They do go for free mod 4, not free mod 3, however. It's going to be down diff. Down. Diff. Down.
Map by down.
Map by down. Down by down. Down. White down by down.
Have we said down enough times? Do you think everybody understands what's going on here?
The difficulty name is down, by the way.
The artist name is down. The song name is down. The difficulty name is down, and it's mapped by, you guessed it, down.
Are you down? I'm down for down. Are we down for some down?
I'm down for downtown.
I'm down for downtown.
It's time to get down to business. So it is awkward rhythm, because of course it is. If anybody who's familiar with any down song that they've seen, whether ranked or it's tournament custom or whatever, knows what they're getting into with these types of maps. This one is a little more accessible than some that you might see in these super late rounds, often no mod 6 in community tournaments, where they tend to be a little bit harder than this one. But instead, tone down the difficulty a little bit and tone up the mod requirements, because hidden and hard rock on this are both very difficult. You put accuracy at a premium, you put reading at a premium, and Canada has been saying, give us all of the gimmick maps, give us all of the hidden reading, give us everything awkward, and we're just going to eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they're going to hope to do that again here.
Well, I think Canada, they're down for some free mod. They looked really good on free mod 1 earlier. And I think if they're able to maintain that mod consistency across the board here, it's going to be a big thing for them here to potentially go up 4-1. And
we're switching things up a little bit here
Double
for
over mod.
Australia. You've got Arbusion coming in for his first map, going Hidden Hard Rock. They're dropping the Hidden only onto Mavs. Meanwhile, Doomy and Emrek going the no-mod. So this is kind of the carries on no-mod strat instead of the carries on mod strat, as opposed to what Canada's doing, where they're putting Zunator on her preferred HDHR, Xylus on his preferred Hidden, with Yip and Nick in on the no-mod. So kind of two different approaches to a free mod pick from the teams. We'll see which one works out better. So far, it's felt like Canada has the advantage on these mod type of maps and these awkward types of maps, and we'll see if that continues.
I'm excited to see how these two Hidden Hard Rock players perform on this pick. It's very difficult in terms of the aim control mixed in with these rhythm changes and the finger control required on these down songs here. So the fact that Arbusion's accuracy is as high as it is right now is stunning to me. Like, Zudinator is what you expect to see from Hidden Hard Rock players. Oh, but there's a miss from Arbusion, traded with Xylus there. Doomy did find one earlier on the no mod. It's not going to be working in Canada, or it's not going to be working in Australia's favor here at the beginning, but this map gets a lot harder towards the end there.
Now you've got 3-2. Oh, Zudi? What was that?
Slider break? Was that a slider break?
I'm not actually sure. Well,
it helps Australia. That's what I'm sure about.
Yeah, they did end up with another break on Arbusion at about the same time, but that's really not as big a deal as Zudinator's break. She finds another miss, not having the greatest time, so Hidden Hard Rock not paying off. And it is still Mavs and Emrek holding down the FCs. There goes Mavs. So Emrek on the lone FC. Doomy backing him up, though. 520 combo. But there goes Emrek. You can't afford that. You cannot have a no-mod break on a map like this with Yip and Nick still holding FCs and Xylus backing them up.
And Zudinator is struggling so much, but the team performance from Canada is really helping out right now. The two no-mods on Canada, they're doing exactly what they need to be doing right now. You know, you come in, you have the advantage of playing an awkward free mod like this, unhindered. No hard rock, no hidden, and you know they're ready to go right now. Doomy just with the early break at the beginning, holding combo ever since. Mavs is only on a slider break too, but it's just not going to be enough. Double FC to no FCs, even with the supporting combos. Xylus is matching the next best player on Australia right now. Zudinator pretty much matching Emrek.
This is just sort of the kind of performance that you can't afford to have if you're Australia trying to steal a breakpoint on one of these picks. You know, only having one FC, or not even FC, only having one big combo against a double FC. I mean, what is there to say? This is just another really solid performance from Canada. And they're able to do it on these very tricky, gimmicky picks as well as more mechanics type of maps. So showing off just how well-rounded they are as a roster, which puts the fear of God into anybody that they're facing, not the least of which is Australia. That's a double FC on the semifinals free mod 4 with Yip and Nicholas 1324, both at 97.3 plus AC. I know it's no mod, but that's still pretty impressive.
Yeah, if you know this type of song and this type of map, it is very, very good AC. Across the board there for Canada as well. Really just Zudinator on the Hidden Hard Rock having some trouble there. Arbusion doing pretty good for himself. 95% AC there. 3 misses, pretty much matching Zudinator spot on their higher combo though, given that 600k. Doomy just with the 1 miss at the beginning, the reverse choke. And Canada almost a 600,000 score gap and a 3 million plus team score, really proving why they are feared in this tournament if they're having a good week here, because they scale and they're good at these multiple skill sets that are thrown throughout these maps here. In Australia, they're still having a hard time, you know, trying to respond to this. You know, you've got at least one player on Canada per map putting up an FC. You know, on most of these maps, you really haven't seen somebody responding from Australia. You know, some maybe close on one, but there's really not that guaranteed FC from them. They're gonna go in for Nomad 2, however.
Nah, you do not pick Nomad 2 against Canada. You do not pick Nomad 2 against Canada.
No. I see this working out for them. I see this, bro. This is This is like they're gonna get in Canada's heads. Canada is thinking right now. They're like, oh my god, Nomad 2. We have 3 dumb good stream players on our roster. There's no way we can lose this. And then the second one of them misses, it's over. They're like, oh my god, I missed. Australia's gonna win this pick, and then they get in their own heads. The only problem with this description is that requires Canada to miss.
Yeah, you know, I like the positivity you've got coming out here. I really like the attitude. You want to see a competitive match. You want to see something interesting here. But I'm pretty sure picking Nomad 2 into Canada in semifinals is just inting, unless you are Germany, perhaps. This is like their playground, right? You've got a couple of the best stream players in the world on that team. Like, regardless of how good Australia might be on it, I really don't see this as being an optimal pick in this scenario. Especially people saying, you know, no map for MREC and stuff. If he didn't practice, like, there's some patterns in this map that you want to know. Like, there's a couple of the little slider streams and such. You want to know those are there. You want to have played this. So, I don't know. This is a scary one. I think I would have rather seen DT3 if Australia wanted to go tapping here.
Yeah, I'm a little scared for this one. You know, without a doubt, this is the type of thing where it's like almost like a last resort pick, if I could describe it like that, for Australia. Like, there's no way you look at previous scores in other weeks from Canada and go, oh yeah, Nomad 2, that's a great pick. Like, super confident, ready to go. Because I think regardless of how good you are at Nomad 2, you're going to be very contested on this pick. It's almost like picking a Nomad 1 in round of 16. Like, you can be so good at that type of map, but yeah, you'll miss sometimes. And I think this is going to be kind of a similar scenario where, you know, Australia, by no means are they not a strong Nomad 2 team. They have very good stream players on this roster. But you're almost counting for, like, that one miss from Canada that you'd see on a Nomad 1, where, you know, you hope that they shit this somewhere. Like that. That's the first one from Nick. Exactly what I'm talking about.
There's that. Yeah, you just slightly miss aim on one of those flow patterns and get a break. I was looking, you know, interested at the results from last week, and Australia played Nomad 2 twice last week. They got the 9th and 10th score, best scores out of 18. So really middle of the pack, which is not exactly confidence inspiring, but the way this is starting out is certainly fine for them. A few hundred combo advantage with that break from Nick. A lot of map to go though. 2 minutes long is all, but it's got a ton of combo, especially in the back half. We'll see. They gotta hold this 4-way though, and they're not gonna do it. It's Suffix, but it's traded. It is traded with Xylix.
That was a big trade right there. That's some good act lost for Canada for some not as good act lost for Australia. So still pretty even loss here. You're really looking for the step up from these remaining players on Australia. Suffix with a massive chain miss. Oh, that's a lot of score lost for Australia, but it won't matter if they... Oh, no! Oh, wait. Double break from Canada!
This is just going back and forth. Nobody wants to hold on to an advantage here, but Emrek and Jordan LR7 are doing what they need to. There goes Nick as well. It's just Ryuke against the world, and Emrek and Jordan LR7 both held through there. I think it's going to happen. I think Australia is going to take it. Some really strange, uncharacteristic misses from Canada, and some absolutely solid performances. LR7 finally a late break. Will that be enough for Canada to try to make a comeback? No, it will not. Emrek drops the casual sight read FC, matching Ryuke, who had, what is that, like 300s? That is ludicrous accuracy. That is, I mean, that's like what it's 500s, similar to what he did hop hacking lobby on DT2, but just a better team-wide score from Australia. And so despite everything we had to say, they still managed to come away with the victory. They really needed that, and they got it.
It's the consistency map gambit. This map has some of the, you see those accelerating stream patterns where they get really spaced, and, you know, at 200 BPM, while it can be comfortable to tap, it's pretty easy to let nerves get the best of you in these OWC matches. And if you don't aim perfectly to those streams, you will find a chain miss. And, you know, we saw some of it with Suffix. We saw a little bit of it with Nick at the beginning of the map. You know, Nick was able to recover. Suffix was kind of struggling just a little bit more towards the ending of the map. But Double FC makes the difference there. That unfortunate miss from Rupert towards the ending, just coming a little too early. for Canada. They were only behind 184,000 on that pick. Australia, they are right back into the swing of things right now. It's going to be Nomad 4 pick coming out of Canada. They've proven to be very good at these tech maps in previous weeks. This map is... Oh, how do I describe this? It's not as technically intensive, I would say, as other weeks' tech picks. And I know that sounds weird to say, but there is a lot of flow aim involved in the Nomad 4 this week. And that could prove to be a little bit useful for Canada because we saw a lot of breaks from Australia earlier today on some picks that involved cut streams and flowing between patterns. And this map has a hell of a lot of that. So unless we have seen some sort of like shift from Australia going into this pick here, this is going to be pretty favored to Canada right off the bat, just given map style.
We'll see. I don't... It's hard to know what to expect out of Australia on Nomad 4. It's not a map slot that they typically play a ton of, right? Like, they played 2 matches last week. They played 18 maps total and didn't play the Nomad 4 at all. Canada, meanwhile, was the top scorer on last week's. Like you said, though, this one a little more tapping heavy in lieu of kind of the super, super difficult slider aim. Who's the tech? You know, it's interesting because like there are certain teams, right, that you think of and you look at players on their roster and you're like, oh, they're a tech player. Like, you know, United States has Taquito and Fancy Loud, for instance. Yeah. Who do you look at on these 2 rosters and go, oh, that's a tech player?
You know, I'm gambling on Mavs. I'm gambling on the new guy. I bet he's gonna go on this one.
He went on Hidden 3, so I mean, who's to say he won't? You know, he comes in for his specific maps and does well on them.
Yeah, anything Mavs is in for, he's generally pretty good at. Obviously, the eyes have to be on MREC, like, at some point. You know, when does he get warm? When does the MREC that we all know can show up kick in for Australia? You know,
to be fair, he did just FC the Nomad 2.
Exactly.
He did do that.
He looks really good on mechanics maps, which is something I think that like when you hit the level of MREC, you can kind of play, you know, a little bit earlier on, but like, is he ready for these more complex patterns yet? And that's a difference maker for Australia here on this pick, because they need someone who can contest the tech roster of Canada right now. But obviously this early start, not going to be too much happening right now. We're going to get right into it. You can kind of see what I mean. It's a little flowier. You've got these cut patterns in here, and it's going to be Ryuk to over aim one of the beginning when Xylus gets slow slidered.
Oh, you hate to see that. And here we get more cut patterns. These are so difficult. But everybody's looking pretty solid. Nobody breaking at all in this section so far. Now we can do a little heavier slider aim, and you just amp up that difficulty. And there goes Yip. That's a slider break. That's going to leave Canada with only the 1 FC. Zudinator, of course. Who else would it be? She is their carry on basically everything. And here she goes again on her own. But it's a quad FC for Australia.
What is... Oh my god, the slider break.
The first break. And Suffix falls immediately after.
This is not the section where you're supposed to be breaking, Australia. This is the slider aim.
This is the section where...
very difficult.
This is the section where Canada's building up their combo on all of their players. Zudi still holding that FC. It's Mavs and MREC against the world. All right, so about that MREC needing to be MREC thing, I think he's kind of doing that here. That is holding an FC into this middle part with 98 AC. That's really impressive.
Through that slider section with Scorby 2 is so challenging. Definitely showing up. And then, you know, there's the other FC on the board for Australia I mentioned at the beginning. Keep your eyes out. Keep your eyes peeled. It's Zudinator and Ryuk to try and bring this back to the Canadian side right here, but they're not going to be able to do anything unless we see a break from Australia. And it's going to be Xylus breaking again. But it's a three-way.
It's Suffix, Mavs, and Doomy all breaking MREC, the only FC left for Australia. Meanwhile, you've got Zudi holding the FC down. You've got Ryuk on a 950 combo and Yip on a 400 combo as well. That lead is just going to rocket over to Canada's side. This gets really scary now. A quarter of the map left to go and nobody from Canada breaking. That lead immediately 100,000 points in no time at all.
No way we're going to see. One of these 2 FCs has to break. There's just no way. What?
I mean, this is what you get when you throw some of the best tournament players in the world at a semifinals pool. MREC capable of pulling off ridiculous FCs anywhere. Zudinator, one of the most consistent players out there.
There's no way they hit the other.
They're
There's
just
no
they're
way.
just both hitting all this.
This is disgusting.
They're just doing it. They're just both hitting all this. They don't care. No,
I'm
this is
disgusted.
This is abnormal. Yep.
Oh
Okay,
my
they double
God.
FC'd. Emmerich Zudinator bringing home the FCs, but it's a 400,000 point win for Canada nonetheless because the backing scores were just way, way better. Mavs held for so long and then just did not have a great time in the back half. Suffix and Doomy really could never get into that one. And now 5-2, Canada with several match points. This is the danger scoreline. They were up 5-2 last week against South Korea, and we all know how that turned out. So if Australia has any solace, if there's any consolation to be found in the scoreline, it's knowing that Canada was at the same position last week and ended up losing.
Well, if there's any consolation, it's to hoping that Xylus isn't sight reading everything like he was potentially on this one there. That slow slider in the 400K, very uncharacteristic from him on the side there. So Australia may be looking for in there potentially. Suffix had a lot of trouble on that map there. That was kind of an unfortunate scenario where it seemed like just fill a little bit for that fourth player. You know, sub 300K. Always hate to see it. MREC with the score. You know, we mentioned Canada's overall consistency today as a team, and it's looking so good across the board. Australia unwavering in their DT picks here. Gonna try and go for this DT3. Looking pretty good on this one. Zudinator not too happy about this pick, which is good for Australia. If you can take her out for a map, then at least it guarantees you that one of those strong scores are not up there. You know, you do have the flip side of now you have to deal with Ryuke, but
yeah, Ryuke has been so scary on his maps in this match so far. Like the accuracy right on DT2 and Nomadzu, top scoring those, really incredible stuff from him. And is he not even in for this? There's no way he's not in for this with Zudinator in, right? Like Ryuke made his name playing D&B DT. That is why he is where he is in the game.
I'm telling you right now, if Ryuke is not in for this, I'm going to be stunned because I really wanted to see the Ryuke Jordan LR7 DNB face off right here. This is a better pick for Australia, I think, than DT2 was. I think Australia kind of caters a little bit more towards the style of DT than we see in DT2. So this is... it's gonna be a Doomy substitution for Suffix on that. I do like that substitution. Yeah. I do like that substitution. I am just alright. Good lucks are coming out. Ryuke is not playing this. I think we saw this in a previous week as well. Ryuke did not play a DT for Canada because he was like uncomfortable on the map or something. And I wonder if we actually just like have the same case on this, where Australia just finally happens to pick the one DT that Ryuke, unfortunately is not able to play, and it might give them an in on this map here, potentially. We always joke about Zudinator not being a speed player, but she's pretty proficient at some of this type of stuff, so I wouldn't count her out as a potential dangerous player on this, but you're definitely looking a lot less strong as a DT roster for Canada without Ryuke, regardless. And that's just based on Ryuke's skill rather than the possible substitutions here.
Well, we will see how it goes. Every point now for the rest of the match is a must-win scenario for Australia. If there's one thing to be said about Zudinator being in for this, is that she is amazing at comboing stuff, even if it may be a little faster, a little high AR, or whatever, for what you would expect her normal comfort level to be. She's capable of doing pretty ridiculous things when the situation calls for it. It's an early break from Xylus, though. That's not what you want to see if you're Canada. Australia, though, going to be very pleased. And we have an early lead. I wonder if, like, the aim component of this, like, there's a little bit of aim to it, if Ryuke was worried about that. It's traded breaks for LR7 and Curtis, though. Going to derail that train of thought.
Yeah, this map is so difficult with the speed and the finger control required for this. You've got to have such a command of this BPM, and there goes Doomy. It's 2 FCs to, I would say, almost 3 right now for Canada. It's going to start to go back to their side, especially with this little refrain section here coming after that quicker finger control bit here. You start to kind of fall back to just doubles and bursts rather than... Yeah, and here's another hard part. Nick1324 drops alongside Doomy. That's going to help Australia out a little bit more.
Yeah, it is Emrek, Milo with those FCs, and LR7 with a solid backing combo. Zoonator, because of course she is, in for this, and the only FC remaining for Canada. To sort that one out, the logic of it escapes me, but she's just good at the game, so who cares? Xylus and Curtis do have solid backing combos, so if Australia finds a couple of misses in the back half of this pick, it will be opportunity for Canada. This is by no means over yet. Only 100K separates the squads. But as long as those FCs hold for Australia, and as long as LR7 can hold onto that backing combo, they're going to be in an okay spot.
You're really just looking on the side of Canada, hoping for a break out of Australia. Unfortunately, continue to see a few breaks here on Nick1324, just struggling a little bit more towards the latter half of this map. Xylus with an early break. This is something he's consistent at. He won't break at the ending. But there is a break from Milo. But there's a big supporting combo on Jordan LR7 now. If we see a singular break from Canada, this will stay on the side of Australia right now, but we do need to see it.
Oh boy. It's Nick1324 with the break, but it's still right at the middle. I mean, it's 60K.
It could hold it off, though.
This could go over there. LR7 breaks late in the map. That could be enough for Canada. They've got Zoonator still holding down the FC. They've got Xylus and Curtis on the back combo. Curtis with the late break. Zoonie with the late break as well. Emrek can bring this one back alongside Doomy for Australia. He breaks too, but it's a full reset for Canada, and they have nothing left to try to bring this back in the ending. Doomy with the 900 combo and Milo with 470 are going to be enough to seal the point for Australia. That came down to the wire about as much as any map ever could, but Australia just hanging on for a 109,000 point win to stave off elimination for at least one more point.
Oh my gosh, the breaks at the ending. Wow. That's a situation. I don't like that. I'm not okay with this. This is not okay. Milo Milkshake only with a slider break at that 1200 combo mark, almost giving that into Canada there, was able to recover and FC the entire remainder of the map. Emrek matching against Zudinator. It's just barely a difference, the most minuscule.
Worth noting, with discussing Emrek versus Zudinator on that map, Emrek had 1% plus better accuracy. When the score gap comes down to 100K at the end, every little bit counts, and he had, in addition to the combo, he had the accuracy advantage, so it does help a little bit more.
It was like almost all of that lead, that's 82,000 score on that alone. That is a majority of that score lead. Really looking for some good, strong performances on the momentum for Australia now. They only have to win one of Canada's picks to get right back into this, but it's gonna have to be Fremod 3. We mentioned it earlier. This was, kind of the pick that I thought they would go for before Fremod 4, but they're gonna go for it now. And I wonder if they saved it because it was kind of like their ace in the hole. Like I genuinely wonder if this is just the type of pick that they saved for, possible worst case scenario. Because if you're in Canada in this position, if you lose your own pick, Australia goes to their own pick and potentially forces you on tiebreaker, which is a situation that after last week, Canada wants to avoid pretty heavily. So, even if the tiebreaker was favored to them, the pressure of being in that situation 2 weeks in a row is so high. So, if Canada was good at this Fremod 3 and they ended up just saving it as a confident pick, that would make a lot of sense. Does Canada plan that far ahead? We don't know, but I would like to assume.
Yeah, they had their picks pretty planned out. I mean, obviously the Nomad 4 went well, the Fremod 4 went well. The Hidden 3 was a surprising victory on that break point for Australia, but this goes back to the roots of what we kind of started off the match with, right? When we saw, the Hidden pick, and then a little later on we went Rhythm pick, so Canada focusing away from the raw mechanics and into something that requires a little bit more of a rounded skill set. And again, going back to Fremod, which they've won both Fremods that have been played. This is the third and final that will be possible in this match. I feel like Canada just has a superior Fremod roster in this matchup.
I am hoping that Australia has like something up their sleeve on this free mod pick right here, because given the trends of this match so far, Canada's really good at free mods. They have the mod capabilities, they have the consistency, they have the team performance. It's all the makings of a perfect free mod roster. And Australia, you know, they've had one or two people that have been pretty good at these maps so far, and you're really looking for, you know, maybe just a little bit more than that.
You got to be better than just like decent.
They've got to give, if what they've been giving is 100%, they've got to give 120. They need a little more.
Yeah, they got to find that boost. I mean, you know, the free mod 1, right, came down to the last second. 9,000 points came down to the spinner. But the free mod 4 straight up just did not go well for Australia. So they got to really go back towards. I think, yeah, and this is kind of expected because it is that slightly lower approach rate, and if you're comfortable with sort of precision, I mean, it's CS 6.5 with Hard Rock, which Canada is, you can afford to do this. So Xylas back on the hidden only, Zudi back on the hidden Hard Rock, Ryuke this time in for a Hard Rock as well. Overmod, it worked out. It's working out for them typically. There's a lot of situations for Canada where overmodding works out just because they have players who are so comfortable on these mods. And I think this is probably no exception. The reading of this gets kind of nullified when you get to go Hard Rock, and not starting off well for Australia here either, with Milo and Mavs both breaking early on.
Yeah, not at all. We saw Milo on the Hard Rock earlier with the free mod, hoping maybe just a little bit more comfortable here. It's definitely something Milo is normally good at. You're not looking at pretty stellar act from Doomy and Emrek either on those hidden and no mod combos here. So a lot of the score gap being given up by that accuracy right now, actually more so than those misses, just because of how long this map is. You've got a lot of Hard Rock on the side of Canada, and you're trading a lot of the reading for a lot of precision requirement, which on Devious Panda maps is normally a pretty bad idea. With this type of thing, I'm not quite as worried because I think this map is slightly less mechanical favored, but as I'm speaking, Australia is just missing on multiple players. Emrek finding that drop is not good for them on top of the Mavs break. It's now Doomy on the only FC remaining for Australia in the first quarter of the map.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, is there a worse scenario to be in than playing a 4.5 minute long free mod and having it be over a minute in, and you just have to continue playing the rest of the map anyway?
Yeah, like you have to now hope for Canada to break.
Yeah, like if you're Australia, you are on your knees praying to whatever god you may believe in that Canada just suffers severe dysfunction in the last half of this map, because clearly what you're doing is not enough to win. You're going to need some divine intervention here if you're Australia, because Canada still has a 3-way FC and Australia just has nothing behind the. Yeah, they have 2 combos and the other 2 are just not having fun at all.
I mean, I guess if you're looking at this in a positive light for Australia, you do have all of these breaks from Emrek being traded out by Zudinator. Oh, and there goes Doomy. All right, well, there's not as much to look forward to on Australia now. That is the last FC gone. Milo on the Hard Rock is definitely better to have the full combo because you do have that Hard Rock multiplier towards the ending, but that's not going to make the difference of 500k. It's going to make 50k.
When you're and let's face it here, it's 500k halfway through a 4.5 minute long map.
Canada all missed this build-up. Canada are going to all miss this build-up.
Literally, Canada has to full reset right now for Australia even to have an outside chance.
I can see it. I'm watching. I'm looking for it right now. It's going to happen.
Or Xylas will just troll the spinner again or something. This is a really good team performance from Canada. This is stuff that Australia just doesn't have a way of matching. And Canada is performing to expectations on this map. This is why they pick into these free mods so much. This is why they go into, you know, some of these more reading-focused maps, because they can put in a roster that does things like this, where they're holding a 3-way FC into the last quarter of the map with the match at a match point in their favor. All of the stress and all of the nerves that come from that, needing to close it out to avoid your opponents getting their last pick. All of that is on their shoulders, and they're still putting up a score like this. That Rupert break doesn't even end up mattering.
That might though, Ryuke.
No, Milo breaks. Mavs has a 730 combo. It's 600k. This is just Canada firing on all cylinders.
Well, if you look at the good news, oh no, P broke. I was gonna say Embrek finally pushed above 200K. Australia, just like as a team on this one, are not having a good time. I don't actually know what's happening with Emrek right now. He's at 91% accuracy. When the best player on your team is struggling this much, it really is just not a good sign for Australia. Xylus is just gonna kind of finish this one out in style here. Doesn't need Zudinator, doesn't need Rupert, doesn't need Ryuke into the ending here. Really just gonna find a miss on the last set of streams. So he's not happy.
Rage cursor.
He's not happy. Yeah.
He was very displeased about that one.
This isn't a good hidden FC. Oh, he's so mad.
Well,
there
it doesn't matter. It's a 1,000,000-point win to close out the match. Australia just had no answers to how well-rounded Canada's roster was in this match. All three of the free mods that were played going Canada's way, the hidden one going Canada's way. There just wasn't anything that Australia could do on those picks. They did not have the rosters for them. They did not have the players for them. And Canada was just able to exert their will and take the match 6-3 and advance onward into the next round here in losers bracket. Australia will be going home in that 9th through 12th. It's an unfortunate situation to end up in, but somebody's got to be there, and it's them.
Very tragic scenario. You know, we talked about this at the beginning of the match a little bit. You've got a 4th and 6th seed matchup in the losers bracket of the semifinals. That's just not something that you see all too often. And, you know, unfortunate as it is, it means we say goodbye to some very good teams very early on. Fortunately for Canada, they are not one of those teams. They are able to survive through one more match. They're not through the weekend yet, but after taking that loss in the winners bracket, they're looking a heck of a lot better this weekend. They'll be facing off against the 9th seeded Hong Kong in approximately 20 minutes.
Yeah, they did something crazy to themselves here, man. I don't know about that one.
Well, let's see if they could duplicate the performance that they just put up. Because they're certainly gonna need it. Hong Kong looking so strong against Indonesia earlier.
Yeah, Hong Kong is one of those teams that has core players who just scale really well. And, you know, they blew Indonesia's doors off, right? 6-1 in that match, the first match of the day this morning. But Canada is a completely different team altogether. So that's going to be a heck of a match. I believe that one's going to be over on the B stream, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, I believe it is, because they rescheduled to, like, dead overlap with a winner's bracket match halfway through. So that'll be on the B stream. So we'll be taking a very slight break on the A stream for about 50 minutes. If you stick around on the A stream, you'll be able to catch United States versus South Korea winners bracket match. Very exciting to see there. And if you want to watch Canada versus Hong Kong, that will be on the B stream. Our moderators will be putting that in chat. It's osu_live_2. You can head over there for now and catch that match, pull up multi-Twitch or multiple tabs, and watch both of those matches at the same time. If you need something to fill 20 minutes with, we've got banners up on the OSU store. You can support your favorite teams that are both in the tournament and not in the tournament anymore. If you want to support them, go ahead and head over and do that. If you also want to donate to our prize pool directly, you can go to our Open Collective page, which is in chat right now. That is any donations going to that go directly to the OWC22 prize pool. Every single bit of donations, they're given straight to the players. We are going pretty close to $1,000 on that now. So the prize pool going up from $5,000 to $6,000. It's pretty good, supporting your favorite teams and, you know, the potential top 3 there. That's all the fun offerings we have this year for you. Also some channel points if you want predictions and stuff like that. There's more gambling opportunities, I guess.
Chili Affairs just got all the housekeeping duties here today. We got a lot of stuff going on. You can buy this, you can buy that, you can gamble channel points, you can subscribe to the channel to support it even more. You can do all kinds of stuff, but more as important as all of those things is really be here in 45 minutes, because USA versus South Korea, first winners bracket semifinal. You do not want to miss that. It is going to be a banger. And of course, on the B stream, about 20 minutes, Canada, Hong Kong. Final thoughts, Mr. Chillier?
I guess we could give a formal recognition to the teams that have won so far. Hong Kong, China, Russia, Canada. Well done in your matches. Best of luck to the remainder of our teams this in these upcoming matches. Of course, we've got all the Sunday matches ahead of us, some of which are on your screen right now, just not including potentials, I think. No, potentials should all be there now.
Everything's there. It's all there. Don't
we're
worry.
good.
It's all there. We're good.
We're good.
We know what we're doing, I promise. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Congratulations to Team Canada on that victory, advancing onward into the next round of losers. We will be back in 45 minutes on the stream for the first winners bracket semifinal, USA versus South Korea. Until then, for Chili Repair, I've been this one guy. We'll see you on the other side of this break.
Hello everyone, welcome back. It's not been too long since we've seen Canada just play. It was around 30 minutes ago, but we're seeing them again. This time it's around, it's the next round in the lower bracket for them after beating Australia 6-3. They're going to be facing Hong Kong, which have been a fantastic team to watch. I'm Azer, and today I'm going to be joined by Dada. How's it going?
Hello. It's quite a late match here, but we have a tube match block going on. We have Canada versus Hong Kong in the losers bracket, And I believe we'll have America versus South Korea coming in 30 minutes. But Canada just had this really fun match against Australia. It was very back and forth at points. We had some questionable decisions on both teams. I saw some funny moments, but hopefully they have they get their mental back together for this facing this phenomenal Hong Kong team, which looked really good against Indonesia.
Yeah, and just to clarify what's going to be going on here, because we have a little bit of a weird overlap. So there are now 2 streams streaming this match for the time being. So if you're watching this on the B stream, this will stay on Canada versus Hong Kong the whole time. But since there's no current match going on the A stream right now, we're going to be streaming this match for around 30 minutes until it's time to watch USA versus South Korea. So you get half of a match. If you want to keep watching this one, you can head on over to the B stream. But for now, we're watching this one. Well, I'm kind of curious to see if the bans and picks are going to kind of shadow what we just saw from Canada against Australia. I mean, a lot of these maps are quite fresh in their mind. They did pretty well on most of their picks, so I'm kind of wondering if they changed their game plan going against Hong Kong, because Hong Kong and Australia have very different strengths.
They're very different teams. Obviously, it's a similar structure. Like Hong Kong, instead of having one very strong player that everyone's scared of, they have Chu, they have M2I4 and Tsuagi, but they're very different players than Emrak and Dummy, so they're gonna try and apparently ban out this Nomad 5. I believe that's a repeat ban, if I'm not mistaken. And then Hong Kong instantly banning both the stamina map on DT2 and the A8 hidden map, a little bit unpopular this week on Hidden Chu.
Yeah, it's a bit of a harder one, I think. Not a lot of teams comfortable with that one. We've seen that probably be the most common ban, if not banned in every single match so far. So, not too surprising to see that one, honestly. Nomad 5 also kind of this very polarizing map. It's hard to tell whether teams can even play that or not. There's not a lot of good reference for it. It's a very unique map in that regard, so...
Yeah, also apparently Canada didn't ban Nomad 5 last match. Who banned it? Australia was the one who banned it, so... And then they're going to be banning Fremod 3 as well, so... One of the strengths of Hong Kong that Loyar and Fremod kind of roster just being taken away from them.
Oh, so, absolutely.
It's a weird thing to see one team prioritizing that Loyar ban, and then the other team countering right back with a Loyar Fremod being taken away. So a little bit interesting, but it is just a question of individual comfort on the maps.
I think it's a lot of mutual respect for that skill set on both teams. I will say from experience, Canada has lost that type of Fremod 3 pick to Hong Kong too many times. So even though the rosters are very different now, you still have to respect the range of scores that they can put out. I think the Hidden 2 ban on Hong Kong side, though, I think is just, like I said, that map is just hard for any team to field 4 players for, I feel like, so... I don't think that one is specifically targeted at the Canadian team, as opposed to Fremod 3 definitely being targeted against the Hong Kong team, and we will be seeing some DT3, some good old DNB as the first pick of the match here.
Lovely. This has been a really popular pick, I think, this weekend. We've seen a lot of teams... We've seen a couple of scares on it, like a couple teams that were expected to win it, just kind of have unfortunate breaks on one of the KIs, but a lot of teams trying to like head straight into it and pick it early on in the match. So, do you think this favors Canada by a slight amount? Like Hong Kong, not really known for like a high RDT kind of.
I think a very large amount actually. Canada just has all these really well-rounded players for this type of. I don't know if you would consider this unconventional DT, but it's definitely not your regular DT3, right? It's got so much slider aim, a little bit of tech elements. Canada has a lot of players that come to mind for that, and I think Hong Kong definitely has those to match, but I don't think as a 4-man team they will. So that's probably what Canada's seeing here. Probably looked at the score difference. I believe this was played in both of their previous matches this round, and I mean we saw Canada do a really good performance on it, so they're feeling comfy on it again. Definitely looking to unleash Ryuke with this one. Saw a pretty disgusting score last time.
I believe last time on DT3, which is this right here, they actually forewent having Ryuke in the lineup, and they lost the map by around 100,000 points to Australia. So they had a couple of unfortunate breaks. I believe it was kind of one of those maps where you see like a couple of breaks and then you think, oh, we've lost this one. Like Australia threw it away and then it got thrown right back. So let's see if UK stepping into the lineup will make it a little bit easier. Maybe make it a little bit of a more comfortable victory for Canada instead of a very close defeat.
Yeah, I'm definitely not counting out Hong Kong, though. I mean, even though on paper this is definitely a strong advantage for Canada, they also feel this way considering this is their first pick. But I mean, the things that we've seen Suwagi and MCY4 do this tournament is kind of insane.
No, these guys are legit. Like, if you're looking at this Hong Kong roster, you are banning and picking around these people. So, let's head right into the map here. Is that an early break I just heard, or?
Oh, it looks like they're all good at the very beginning, but even right away, small accuracy lead. It's not going to be very meaningful considering this is really lengthy even for a DT map. I think for Hong Kong here, they're definitely looking to pick around those two players, obviously, but I think they also have certain map types where they definitely have very, very strong supporting players around them. Fremont 3 would have been a really good map, I think, for them. In terms of supporting, I think they have a really well-rounded roster, but I mean, immediately going off of this, already 3 breaks before the map even starts. It's already only just Suwagi against a mountain here. It seems to be a very well-researched pick for Canada here.
Absolutely, I think just this overall 4-man DT lineup for Canada is very, very scary. And Hong Kong, they don't have the same issue of speed that they had in a couple years prior, where they didn't really have a full lineup, but they obviously aren't feeling that comfortable on this pick. So, good first pick from Canada here, already off to almost a 500k lead, and 4-way heading into the end of the first guy.
Yeah, it's worth noting one more time. I don't know if that's really considered an advantage or not, but we kind of just played a full-length match right before this one. They're running kind of a marathon this evening for them. 2 matches back-to-back. They are all extremely warm. So this kind of pick, I think you would expect kind of benefits from that a little bit. Hong Kong a little bit early over there right now, so might still just be warming up. They need to have that first couple of maps played before they're all on board. I'm not sure if it would have really made a difference considering how insane Canada's playing this right now, but okay, Curtis does finally find the first miss for the Canadian team. I mean, what can you really do against that?
And Hong Kong isn't having a bad time either. Like, Suwagi is still holding strong. F2X not too far behind, but it's, as you said, just the might of this 4-man DT Canadian roster is just... it's something to behold, really.
Couple more breaks at the end, not gonna matter though. Suwagi actually breaking the only FCLs. I was gonna say, Suwagi, I mean, kind of as always, we haven't really seen Suwagi falter much at all in any round so far, but not gonna get the FC for this one. And somehow, on a DT pick throughout all these all these maps being played for Canada, it's still just Zudi with the only FC. With like a gigantic backpack, I suppose. It looks like there's still room inside that backpack, but pretty respectable performance from everyone. I mean, it looks like Curtis only had one unfortunate break there as well, and that was pretty damn close to a 4-way right off the bat. That's really scary.
Yeah, 4-man, or not 4-man, a 4 million almost performance from Canada in a semifinals DT pick. Very, very respectable. And as we said before, Hong Kong didn't play bad. Like, they came to play, they had a respectable set of scores in their own right, but it is just not possible to win when everyone's firing on all cylinders like they have here. But let's see what they pick next. I'm expecting Hong Kong to like head more into the kind of like flow Amy side of the pool, like maybe Nomad 3, Hidden 3, Hard Rock 3, stuff like that, where they can really like take it away from a couple of the more mechanic intensive picks and try to hope for the Canada special, really. Like, So a couple of very unfortunate breaks, and then like leading into like a 100k or 50k map loss, like it'll happen a lot of times in the Australian match.
Nomad 4, okay.
Okay,
I'm kind
that's
of
also
wondering. Yeah, go for it. Go ahead.
it's also like very respectable to go for the mud 4 right away. Like Hong Kong, they've historically always been this very like strong yet underrated roster that is always like a lot of like either mappers or friends of mappers that like play a lot of this like tech stuff. They're just really like specialists on this kind of stuff, and it hasn't changed over the years, even as some of the mappers kind of like stepped away from the game.
No, you're absolutely right about them being a little bit underrated on a pick like this, though. They've always been team-wide just extremely comfortable on a pick like this, so I think it's a very smart first pick from them. I think it's still pretty evenly matched here, though. I mean, Canada just did put up, I think, almost 3 FCs on this as they just played, if I remember correctly. But Hong Kong kind of just has to win this one, I think. I'm not really sure what type of map or what skill set Hong Kong is planning to play around in this match. It's pretty hard considering Canada is one of the most well-rounded teams, I would say. And so far this match, they've already kind of flipped their game plan around. We just saw them against Australia just focus on the hidden picks, you know, like they just went for all the Zooty maps essentially, and now immediately they're swapping it up. They're going for all the way for speed, so they're able to do that. I wonder if Hong Kong has that same level of adaptability that they'll need, I think, in order to match that.
I mean, they've proven strong in a lot of picks where you wouldn't really expect it to be strong in some earlier matches, like Indonesia match, obviously. I believe, despite there not being a single DT played, like even a couple of the more mechanics-intensive picks in the aiming side, they proved very, very respectable. But we head into this Nomad 4 here. The early breaks from Zudinator and Suwagi.
And 2 big hitters are down. Okay.
Okay. So 3 breaks from Hong Kong to start the map of here. Shihara Yuki, A21 and Suwagi all breaking, and MCY4 the last FC to break from Hong Kong. So Canada with still a 3-way heading into around the quarter of the way of the map here. Interesting to see. A little bit of a shaky early performance from Hong Kong.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if it's over yet, though. I mean, this map kind of just never stops. We've seen so many misses on just about any single slider in this. The amount of slider aim that's required is pretty rough. But with those 2 additional breaks, it's looking pretty rough for the team now. Yip does break an FC, but there's still 2 of them on the board. And they're on the side of Canada here at the halfway mark. So looking like a strong... Okay, well, Zalis does find a miss, but...
Hong Kong still needs Ryan to break, like, very, very soon. It's a 400k lead on, like, 2/3 of the way in. It's almost unsurmountable at this point, almost 500k now. And, well, they have recovered quite respectably, but not anymore, I guess, was both MCY and A21 find breaks.
There's just no combo on the board for them, unfortunately. I mean, Shihara Yuki recovered quite well, and they're gone as well. I mean, Ryuk Tech, I suppose, that's what we're looking at here. And Zudi as well as kind of just had that one miss at the very beginning, one of the rare Zudi misses we've actually seen today. And yeah, I mean, this is extremely one-sided for Canada.
It's interesting that I believe both of the players that really stood out last match for this Zudinator and Ryuk, both stepping up again. Ryan Kwan now with a break late on the map, so they will yet again occupy the top 2 scores on the roster for this particular pick, and they will once again win. So early break point coming out from Canada. Quite an awkward situation if you're Hong Kong right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at the pool for Hong Kong, and I really don't know what they have available to them that I would give them a clear advantage for in this. They have so many maps that they're very good on, but against Canada sometimes, not just Canada, I mean, just against any other, top 4 seeded teams that are so well-rounded, it's kind of hard to find an advantage on even on a large pool like this. So I'm kind of wondering what they can pull out here. I'm kind of looking at no mod 3 for them, potentially. Hong Kong used to be pretty good at that, and I don't think the same could be said of Canada. That's potentially one of their best maps that they're going to be looking for. We'll see if they decide to go for that, but regardless, for now, it is Canada's pick, so we'll see if they want to go for more speed. A lot of it's still on the board, even though DT2 has been banned, but...
Yeah, I think a lot of this Canadian roster is just looking at finally, like, really just releasing that inner speed demon, and they will go for the speedy free mod. So it's in contrast, as you said, with the earlier match where they were against Australia, so they really couldn't abuse this. But now that they're against Hong Kong, which is historically a little bit less of a DT team, they're trying to just really pull out the stops and just go fast, I suppose. And you gotta go fast. I mean, Hong Kong, this team, they can upset you in very interesting picks. Like, if you just give them an inch, they'll really just take a mile.
Oh yeah. I'm not sure if we've seen this map played yet. I think this might be the first time.
I haven't seen it personally. I've watched almost all the matches, but it might have been picked in, say, like the very earliest match, which I wasn't awake for.
Yeah, I don't think this has been played yet, so this is gonna be the first time we see this. The speed pick on the stream this weekend. It's kind of more of the same. This clocks in at 250 BPM. Lots of slider, like, not really slider aim, but it's just really fast. I'm not really sure how you would describe this map. It just looks like a regular, like, 180 BPM map with a bunch of, like, triples, but much faster. Yeah, it's extremely dense.
Imagine you took like a light tech map, like something that kind of it vaguely centers around kick sliders and like kick slider jumps and some triples, some tapping, and then you just rate change that to 250 BPM. This is basically what this map feels like. It's very unrelenting.
Going to be seeing a couple of new players step in, seeing Nezzer for the first time, as well as iReady.
A little bit of a curiosity, I think Nezzer was, he sent out a tweet, I believe, 2 or maybe like 3 hours ago saying, the train that I needed to take is late. Does anybody know a way to get back home for my match in like an hour and 30 minutes? So, might not be too warm. Might not be too warm, might be a little rusty still, a little bit cold, but hopefully he has a good time.
Couple of over mods on the board for this one. 2 hiddens on the hidden main players in Canada. Not too surprised at that one, but F2X running the double mod on this one. I was probably looking at F2X being the main carry on this map for the side of Hong Kong, but with 2 mods it adds so much more difficulty here that I'm not sure if we're really going to see that. So far, again, a very early lead for Canada, even though Curtis did find a miss, but there's more to be found on the side of Hong Kong.
Yeah, very early breaks from the side of Hong Kong. Only Shura Yuki, I believe, holding the FC still. Meanwhile, on the side of Canada, only Curtis really using that combo. So the strong core of Xylus, Zuninator, and Ryuke all holding strong. It's honestly what you'd expect from a pick like this.
And this map's already over.
Yeah, basically is. Okay, we'll find a break near the halfway mark though, but still, if True FC says 0.
Yeah, these speed maps, man. When your roster isn't made for them, it's so rough to catch up to rosters that are kind of made for them. So.
Rex missing in that little bit of the slow part. Coming out of a break always a tough time to regain focus, and sometimes you do slip up a little bit, but just phenomenal performance from Canada. We're seeing almost a 1 million lead.
We'll see if they hold through the ending here. Density spikes up a lot.
For Ayuka breaks. But Trip Season Canada not holding strong as Zalis will find a break of his own. Zudinator still holding that FC on the hidden, but will finally drop. So no FCs on the board for Canada. Curtis no longer holding that recovery combo, but still, they did more than well enough with almost a 1.6 million victory.
It does look like Xylus did actually get an FC. That might have been a client miss, but wow, that is a point gap if I've ever seen one. That's almost a 1.6 million gap. They could have 2v4'd them. That's kind of insane in semifinals.
It's scary. I mean, if you're Hong Kong, you're already mentally ready for this. You already knew that, you know, we're gonna try for speed. We're gonna try on their picks. They're obviously gonna go early on, starting with speed. But if we don't get it, we just gotta mentally reset and move on and try to find our points somewhere else. And this is what they have to do now, as they'll try to get their first point on the board, confirming their pick. Which, if I was Hong Kong, I would either go for a very gimmicky type map like Fremont 4 perhaps, or as I talked about previously, the flow aim element where there's always a little bit of an inconsistency that a lot of players share, like Hidden 3, Hard Rock 3, Nomad 3. So let's see what they choose.
Yeah, we're not really... I don't think we've really seen the side of Hong Kong here that managed to take 4 points off of USA the other week. So still looking to wake up in this match a little bit. They do end up going for Nomad 3 as mentioned earlier. Alt's typically very, very good for this team. Very, very underrated. So if they do something good, it's gotta happen now.
Yeah, very much expected pick from Hong Kong here. Tsuagi, M2Y4, Shirayuki, all phenomenal alt players in their own right, and I'm sure the fourth player will also be a decent player on their own right, like E21, or maybe even CLP stepping in. But you know, you gotta get in somewhere, and I think this is kind of a play that you're just hoping for a little bit of a consistency faltering from Canada here, where I'm just hoping for a couple of unfortunate breaks. I'm wondering who will be the fourth for Canada. I'm wondering if we'll see Sari. I'm wondering if we'll see another sighting of Yip. That might be also a good shout, but their fourth player remains a mystery.
Nomad alt for Canada is notoriously a roster that has a difficulty putting in a fourth player for this. It's not like nobody can play this kind of map, but they don't really have a full roster that's like good at this and consistent at this. So again, like I said, if Hong Kong is going to win a pick, it has to be this one, because I'm not sure what else there really is. With the way Canada's playing right now, it's kind of a daunting task to even take one, it seems. But yeah, I kind of have good hopes for Hong Kong on this one.
You know, I'd say Hong Kong, you know, they got to get their head in the game. It's a hard match already, but I've seen extremely large collapses in this OWC, and it could happen again. You never know. Get into the map here. Nobody yet to miss.
I mean, immediately just seeing like immediate difference. Every other map so far just immediately swung into Canada's favor. Lots of early misses on Hong Kong. None of that this time around, and they even have an accuracy lead. Looks like Ryuke struggling a little bit in accuracy early on, dropping around 4%. We're about to get into one of the first harder sections here, so we'll see if anything changes. Who will bite the first bullet?
I think we're going to be looking at the end of this section for the real breaks, when the wiggles really get nasty. But Tsuwagi, first break in the lobby. Still not a big deal, still very early on the map. This map's quite long. Plenty of stuff still to happen. But the lead will swing over to Canada by the end of this first guy. Here we go. Couple of funky wiggles. Nobody tripping up on them yet. Tsuwagi missing again. Still, not as big of a deal as it could have been. If you want anybody to miss on Hong Kong, if you're cheering for Hong Kong, Tsuwagi is it. It's the least meaningful combo right now.
We'll have to see if the rest of their players can actually hold it together, because I mean, Tsuwagi's been pretty much the all-star for this team. So we're seeing a map here that isn't going so well for them, and we're seeing a couple more breaks, but it's traded on both sides. Nothing's really going to change.
A21 and Xylus both finding unfortunate breaks at almost the same spot. Everyone's still holding strong though. We head into the second chorus. Canada still with a pretty stable lead. And it's slightly growing. Everyone is so good at this pick currently. Oh, but Shirayuki finding an unfortunate break at the end of that chorus. So that will really open up the door for Canada, as if it wasn't opened already. MCY4, the only FC remaining for Hong Kong. Meanwhile, Canada, still 3 FCs, Zuninator, Repertion, and Ryuke, as we head into the almost solo section. Zaz breaking again, but he wasn't an FC, so still, Canada roster holding strong through this pick.
You know, it's easy to look at this through like a different lens. I think you're probably looking at this and like, oh, Hong Kong players are getting a couple misses, but like, why aren't Canada players getting any? Like, this is kind of an insane run for them so far this match, just finding 2-3 ways on it. Okay, they actually do find a couple of it. There we go.
Both Rupert and Ryuke breaking on the end of that solo. Everybody breaking on the jumps. We've seen a couple of unfortunate breaks here, but everyone holding strong. Meanwhile, it's just MCY4 and Zuninator holding FC, but Shirayuki, Xylus, Zuninator also finding that reset, so no more combos for Canada. MCY4 still with a meaningful combo of his own. Almost an FC, if not an FC. So if he holds, the lead will swing back over to Hong Kong. And Tsuwagi also with a phenomenal recovery combo, supporting that. Is there enough map for the lead to swing back over it? Shirayuki misses, but it's straighted out by Recursion.
If they hold, though, they have to hold this. Oh, Tsuwagi finds a miss!
Tsuwagi finds a set of really painful chain misses.
No,
I don't think it is.
Tsuwagi at the end.
Oh, man.
Would it have been
MCY4?
actually? I don't even know.
I don't think it would have. I think it would have been very close at least. So Tsuwagi's break at the end was unfortunate, but phenomenal play for MCY4, almost bringing that score back and getting Hong Kong that first point, but it wasn't meant to be. Canada, no FCs, but a phenomenal team performance of their own right, and they will find that second break point. It's now 4-0. It's their pick.
All right, and to move on from that, just to point out, the USA-South Korea match will now begin on the main stream. So if you're watching on the main stream, farewell, go enjoy that match. If you want to keep watching Canada versus Hong Kong, we're still live on the B stream with this match.
And the way it is right now, we're not going to be live for much longer. Canada is looking very, very strong. And while Hong Kong, they still haven't found a way into this match. They really need to figure out that Canadian roster. Maybe try to crack them in a little bit more of an easier map. But they had the right idea. They had the right idea with Nomad 3. It almost worked. A couple of unfortunate breaks really didn't let them keep that.
right, hello everyone, and welcome over to all of you who were with us watching Hong Kong versus Canada in the losers bracket. That match is going to be continuing over on the B stream at OSLive_B_2, but now it is time for us to get into the winners bracket. First semi-final of the night. It's going to be South Korea versus the United States in a battle that is going to be, I think, incredibly close. I'm back again, this one guy, and joining me for this one is going to be Fiery Rage. Fiery, I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts. What do you got in mind for USA versus South Korea here?
Well, it's an interesting matchup to have in the semifinals, I'll say that much at the very least. This team, the United States team, obviously reigning champions, have been for about 5 years now. South Korea getting third place last year in 2021 with a slightly different roster, all things considered, but nonetheless, having this matchup in the semis is kind of messed up, all things considered.
Yeah, we had some pretty insane teams, right? The entire top 4 here in winners bracket is just incredibly loaded. USA, South Korea, Poland, Germany on the other side that we'll be seeing tomorrow. Ridiculous rosters top to bottom. You know, you've got Fancy Lad, you've got Utami, you've got Karcher, you've got worst HR player. Like, it is just carry players on top of carry players. It is late round scaling on top of late round scaling. And they are already getting into this. So what are we thinking here between these two teams for bans and likely picks for two rosters that I think are really evenly matched in this stage?
The United States definitely has the advantage on double time, just looking at the head-to-head matchups on the maps that they shared in common during the quarterfinals. The United States beat South Korea pretty handily on pretty much all the double times, and that was without one of their key double time players. Keep that in mind. With Sawada, they were missing Sawada for that match, as well as Joel versus Hong Kong, Joel being Fancy Lad. Those two were absent, so you have to kind of take that into consideration when considering their scores from the previous week. With that said, I definitely think the United States is going to be leaning into DT, and you can already see South Korea sort of wanting to lean away from that, DT3 being their first ban. United States banning out Nomad 1 and Freemod 3. I can get behind the Nomad 1 ban. I think that's kind of self-explanatory, not really wanting to deal with the generic mechanics-oriented maps that South Korea are really good at. Freemod 3, on the other hand, kind of curious about that one.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit less comfortable with that particular pick. Hard to say. I mean, it's the low AR, small circle size free mod. Kind of tough on that one. And then, like you said, it's free mod 2 DT3, the bans from South Korea. Like, every team that is not really good at tapping mechanics has been banning free mod 2 and one of those first 3 DTs, and South Korea no different here. It does leave up DT1 and DT2, though, so if the United States does want to kind of lean into that mechanical advantage, those are both there for the taking for them. And it's a free mod 1 first pick for South Korea. We've been seeing a fair amount of this map. It seems to be pretty friendly to players. We saw a very different free mod 1 last week, but South Korea did win the head-to-head by 400k plus between these two teams. This one's a lot different, though, so the outcome could be switched around quite a bit.
Yeah, this is one of those, I'd argue, a bit toss-up-y maps. A very long map at 4 minutes long, so any misses in the middle, or just anywhere in the map, really, outside of like the first few seconds, is going to be detrimental to how much score you can get on this map. And with carry players like Utami and Karcher on both sides, United States and South Korea, pretty much anything can happen at this stage. This is a free mod pick, so both teams are going to need a hard rock and a hidden mod. It should be obvious who goes hidden on the United States here. Taquito. I imagine Karcher will be taking the hard rock mod on South Korea. The others up for debate, I suppose.
Yeah, I unfortunately offhand not as great of a judgment as to what the mod picks are likely to be for South Korea, but I feel like, you know, USA has Taquito as the hidden main. Like, he is just, it's just like no mod for him, so he's always going to be in on a free mod for hidden. But, you know, you were saying this is starting things off with a super long, very consistency heavy pick And both of these teams have players who are very good at that skill set. I think it was exemplified last week with Karcher and worst HR player on South Korea. You know, you see what they did on like that tiebreaker, for instance. Just the consistency on high star rating late round pools is definitely there for those players. Very interesting to see what we get out of Parisia and out of Amamiya Kokoro, kind of the lesser known players on this South Korea roster. And USA going back to the Utami Hidden Hard Rock to start things off with Decaton and Fancy Lad on Nomad. Very solid Nomad on Fremod players. So I like both teams' rosters on this, but I am a little less experienced with what to expect from South Korea on it.
I think we can expect Karcher to kind of just own this map because this guy just puts Hard Rock on everything and then decides to FC it even without Hard Rock. On Nomad, he's still extraordinarily good. He's just good in general. But yeah, I'm not too sure what to expect from the rest of the South Korean roster. Whether or not they can match up to the consistency of the 5-time champions here. Early beginnings.
Yeah, something interesting with South Korea that I've noticed in their matches is that no matter who's filling in for maps, they just do well. And I know that sounds really, like, kind of duh, right? But it feels like South Korea are always able to put together rosters that perform super well on any map you throw at them. You might not know who to expect for players on maps after, like, Karcher and worst HR player who play basically everything. But whoever it is, they're going to come in and they're going to do well. Which, you know, the USA has had that as their calling card as well. Their depth has been amazing for years and years. So I think they're both probably going to be really evenly matched in that regard. And you can see that here, starting off 7 full combos, and Utami just about 70 combo behind, keeping the score super, super close.
The mod advantage keeping Utami's score relatively in check with everyone else's. Slight advantage to South Korea, but not by much. Comes down to the next break, whether or not we're going to be seeing that third of the way through the map. And there goes Amamiya Kokoro on the hidden for South Korea. Decaton does trade it.
It's just neutral. It's just a reset. It's technically, I guess, advantage United States in a certain degree because it's a mod player missing for South Korea versus a no mod player missing for USA. So you have like a little bit of mod advantage off of that. Oh no, sorry. So you know, it's like you keep the hidden FC to go with the hidden Hard Rock near FC that's keeping its score up there thanks to the mod advantage. But man, it's 3,000 points halfway through. Like, cause I don't know that this could really be much closer.
Yeah, they're gonna see that at the break too. This is when the nerves start to come into play here. 3 FCs on both sides. There goes Fancy Lad on the no mod. Huge break on the side of the United States. That is going to give South Korea a huge advantage here. Still holding on to 3 FCs.
And that's always the thing, right? You can't afford misses on your no-mod players on these free mods because most of the time you're expected to hold an FC or a very near FC if you're running no mod. So that is really huge for South Korea to lead instantly out to nearly 100,000 points. You still have the triple FC, Karcher, worst HR player, and Parisia. And Amamiya Kokoro is recovering pretty well. Still about a quarter of the map to go, so it's not over by any means. If South Korea finds any misses in the late moments of this pick, it can go back, but they're going to have the lead for now.
Yeah, it's going to take, I think, probably 2 combos missing from South Korea at this point. Either that or a player missing right now, I guess. Parisia going to be dropping the no mod. So that is going to give combo advantage back to the side of the United States. Still 2 FCs just holding strong for pretty much both sides. Utami might as well just count that as an FC at this point. Still holding on strong with the hidden Hard Rock. This lead is going to shift over so slightly. Maybe not as slightly now with Kokoro missing as well. Just a few minutes of the map remaining. Fancy Lad trades the break. There goes Karcher on... Oh my god.
But Utami trades it back as well.
And it's worst HR player versus Takedo, and if they can both hold these FCs...
Oh my god,
oh my god.
The last moment. Again.
This supporting combo from Decaton is hugely important right now. It's the only reason the United States still has a chance in this. Is there enough time to stage a comeback here? It's gonna be a spin to win, and they might... Nope, they don't get it. 5,000 on the first map.
Well, If you wanted to start off the match with a bang, that's the way you're going to do it. A spin to win for the second time tonight now, after the same thing happened with Canada versus Australia. We've had it now in USA versus South Korea. A four-way S rank for South Korea, but unfortunately, USA just not able to do enough in those last seconds despite the combo advantage. They threw it away just a little bit on those bigger combos at the end. And South Korea, by the skin of their teeth, man, 5,000 points. They take that 1-0 lead. They really needed that one because USA has an instant first pick DT2 here.
Yeah, and this is what you kind of expected from the United States, as I mentioned. Their double time head-to-heads versus South Korea. The United States, even without Sawada, was putting up absolutely ridiculous double time scores. And now Sawada is present. Sawada, the well-known double time United States tournament player. This guy plays double time.
Yeah, I mean, he's on the team for this purpose. And also, of note, Rectigon back, I believe, healthy. He was feeling under the weather last week, so I think back to normal for him as well. So a lot going a little better for the USA this week for some of their roster pieces. Also, I do just want to note, we have a result. Canada versus Hong Kong has come to a quick end. That was about a 40-minute long match. Canada takes the 6-0 sweep victory. So they will move onward. And they went to 4,702 points. This went to 5,279 points. So two matches playing the same map at the same time, and there was a total of less than 10,000 points between the teams in the two matches. I guess Fremont 1 was a good one. That was a good map.
Very comfortable for everyone. As we're going to get into the first United States pick here. Pretty much a speed roster that you'd expect from the United States. You got Monko, Utami, Rectigon, Sawada. No surprises there. We'll see if South Korea can manage to compete.
Yeah, this is, Karcher and Zayson, obviously you expect to do quite well on this map, but Nongsa and Parisia are going to be, I think, kind of the wild cards here for South Korea, not quite as well known as, the strongest of speed players. But again, like I was saying before, you usually expect South Korea to get pretty good back in combos, but there they both go. And both of those fill-in players for this map have broken in the first 150 combo. Not what you want to see if you're South Korea, but it's USA's first pick, so, it's not the end of the world for them if this doesn't go super well.
Everyone holding through that long stream there.
Yeah, they're getting through all of these early streams with relative ease. The accuracy staying pretty high on basically everyone except Monko, who's down at 95, which is kind of tempering USA's lead here by a little bit. But there's a break from Zayson, and now there is only one FC remaining on South Korea, and it's Karcher, because who else would it be? But unfortunately, he's just not going to be able to do this alone, as we are a third of the way through, and it's over 100,000 points already for USA.
4 FCs, and almost all of them high 98s or above 99. Just Monko trailing in the accuracy department, but who cares? He has a combo, and that's all that matters. Bricio with another break. And score gap is just going to continue to keep on increasing.
This could get really ugly if the USA continues to hold the four-way here, especially with the ACK as high as it is on Utami Rectigon, and with more breaks coming out there from Zayson. The USA, I think, in the off-season, as it were, definitely put in work into shoring up their speed roster, having Rectigon back, bringing in Sawada this year, Utami being a great speed player. They became an incredibly strong speed team. If they weren't already good at it, they became better at it this year, even without Arison, because of the changes to the roster overall. And you're kind of seeing that here as we scale into these late rounds, and they still continue to put up scores like this.
Sawada is going to be doing the traditional Sawada thing, missing on air, but it's just not going to matter at all. The only miss from the United States so far, 3 FCs still, absolutely ridiculous team score, as it is just right now, and it's just going to keep on growing.
This is going to be a ridiculous performance here by the time this is done from the United States. Shoutouts to Karcher, who had an FC until just then, breaking very near the ending, doing the best he could for South Korea, but the backing score is just not even close to comparable. USA is going to put up a 4.2 million score, almost 4.3 million score on DT2 with a triple FC in semifinals week. If you want to talk scaling, United States is the team to look at, because normal teams don't do things like that.
And talk about confidence picks. The United States winning their own pick by almost 2 million. Meanwhile, South Korea just winning by 5,000. That is a very strong confidence booster. Crazy act from Rectagon on that too. 99.44%.
We thought Ryuke put up good act last match. Rexigon says I can do better. Oh man, that guy is so good at speed. USA is really glad to have him back this year after his break from the tournament scene. And now you go back over to South Korea. You barely got away with your first pick and then got blown out on the USA's first pick. So a little thought maybe going into this next one for that team.
I think their best option, to be quite honest, is either going for something like the Nomad 3, Nomad 4, or opting to go for maybe Hidden 2, honestly. South Korea actually did fairly well on Hidden 2, all things considered. It's one of the more toss-up-y picks, though.
Yeah, I mean, looking at their scores last week, right? USA got the top score overall in Hidden 2, but South Korea was hot on their heels with the second best, so definitely stays an option. And I do think that if you're South Korea, you definitely do continue going with those, kind of non-mechanics types of picks. You're going to go into the gimmicks. You're going to go into the niches. You're going to, find the farthest reaches of your cupboard of tricks if you're South Korea, because going straight up against the United States on mechanics is not a winning proposition.
It's going to be the Fremod 4 pick, though. A favorite from everyone in this stage. Mapped by down. Guess what the difficulty name is?
Is it up?
No.
Shoot, what is it?
It's left.
Ah, that was my next guess. All jokes aside, it's down, 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 down. We're down, 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 downing because we have some more down, 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 down. South Korea, it like we said, right? It's a rhythmic pick. They can't go up against USA straight up on most mechanics picks, so they're going to go the opposite direction as fast as their little legs can carry them, and hope that this one turns out maybe a little more in their favor compared to their first pick of Fremont 1.
And imagine feeling pretty confident on this, all things considered. Imagine Karcher is ready to showcase his accuracy prowess on the Hard Rock.
I wonder what the best Hard Rock score is so far, because this map has been played a lot, so there's probably a lot of scores for it. Kind of curious.
I believe Vroom has an FC, but it's with 94% on Hard Rock. I'm not too sure if anyone else has FC'd this map with Hard Rock quite yet.
Honestly, 94% Hard Rock FC on this is definitely respectable. Like, I'd be pretty happy with that. I think the highest...
The only person...
Like 98s?
The only person, I think, to get above 99% right now is Ikoro, and...
Wow.
Yeah, Who would have seen that coming, guys? Wow.
That's shocking.
Tell me more.
Next you'll tell me, like, I don't know, freaking Ryuke did well on a speed map or something. So, Karcher Hard Rock, worst HR player hidden, Nope KJK, and Allegrisimo in on Nomad. Nope KJK, very solid player on these gimmick maps for the South Korean team. Utami Hard Rock, Takedo hidden, of course, and then Decaton and Fancy Lad again in on the Nomad. So, kind of similar rosters, just the Hard Rock only for Utami instead of the hidden Hard Rock, but otherwise, USA keep things in place. And I think we learn a little bit about how this match might go based on the result of this map, because if the USA can steal this one away, it starts to make South Korea think even more about their picks and give them a little more pause before picking some of these gimmicks.
It was the Nomads that let the United States down last time, but just like that, Utami and Decaton going to be the first drops on Nomad and the Hard Rock gone on the side of the United States, giving South Korea a pretty sizable combo lead here in the early stages of the map.
You see that very solid accuracy coming out from South Korea. Karcher on the 95 Hard Rock, 99% on hidden from worst HR player, and 99 on Nomad from Allegrisimo. Nobody over 99 on the United States. So not only are they down 4 FCs to 2, but they're also down a pretty decent chunk of accuracy.
Fancy Lad just now getting above 99. But we're going to need to see some misses out of South Korea pretty soon, because this score lead is already 200k, and it's just going to keep on growing with these 4-way FC that they're still holding on to.
This is such a good score. This is, you know, the confidence boost that the USA got out of the DT2 pick. If South Korea continues this 4-way, they get that much confidence and maybe even more from this free mod 4 pick, because they look very, very strong. It's still a 4-way. We're 2/3 of the way through. It's 99.25 AC with hidden for worst HR player, because of course it is. And it's a 300k and growing to 400k lead.
No one missing on that little rhythmic section after the break. It's going to come down to the last fourth of the map, but even then, it might be too little too late unless the entirety of South Korea misses. Algoritmo will start it, granted, but it's going to need a bit more than that.
Needs to be, it probably needs to already have been a break or two more from South Korea for the USA to have a chance. I think this is basically over in South Korea's favor, because goodness, what a performance they're putting on. USA has a double FC going, and they've never felt like they were in contention in this map ever since Utami and Decatur broke early on.
The accuracy from worst HR player on this with hidden is honestly quite ridiculous.
That's five FCs in the lobby. It's a 3-way from South Korea. 99.21 hidden FC from worst HR player. I'm sorry? They had one total miss?
You get 3.3 million and you still lose that map. That map was literally only decided by the misses Decatan and Utami got early on. That is the only reason that map went to South Korea. Everyone else just FC'd the rest of the map, except for the one miss that Algoritmo had.
That's an insane play from South Korea. I'm really, really impressed by that. And they're going to say, okay, we've got some more picks now that we know what happens on that kind of map. USA going to go DT4. Of the DTs that were available to them, I don't know that this would have been the first option. This is a little more alt and aim control instead of, you know, kind of that raw mechanics. But I do think they're still favored on it, right?
I think this is still relatively favored for the United States. They did beat South Korea's score on the DT4 in quarterfinals, if I'm not mistaken on that.
By a million points.
Yes,
by a million points.
So, in case that's anything to go off of, they are still very much confident on these double time 4 maps.
I will say it's a different DT4 though, right? Like last week's was kind of finger control and a little bit of like triple and burst tapping, whereas this one is more alt aim control.
I mean, I suppose. I think they share somewhat similar skill sets, but you definitely will see a lot more less speedy players since this is a lot lower BPM. Like, for example, Fancy coming in here. So that does make somewhat of a difference, but the skill sets in general, what's being tested here, is more or less similar to last week, I'd say.
Let's see how it goes. It's 192 BPM versus 222 BPM for last week's DT4, so it does drop down by, as you said, that fair margin of speed, but have plenty of tapping. Fancy Lad on DT4s is really scary on maps like this. His aim control is pretty absurd. South Korea, though, Karcher worst HR player, going to bring in Parisia and Zayson as the backup players to their kind of main duo. And we'll get into map 4 here. No break points as of yet. It would be pretty interesting to see if South Korea can pull off a big play on this DT after really getting routed on the preceding one. But we'll wait.
Break point on this would be huge for South Korea, all things considered. Even then, they still don't have to worry too much, as they are up currently.
Starting off well enough in the first couple hundred combo until that break comes in from worst HR player at about 270. So USA, again, going to have an early lead. It's not going to be by a huge margin, but they do have 4 FCs to 3, a couple hundred combo in their favor.
Accuracy lead in their favor as well, off of Karcher's 96%. Parisia and Fancy dropping combo at the same time. Trade for both of them. Still an unanswered break from worst HR player, which is keeping this in the United States' favor for now.
got Utami, Monko, Rectagon looking quite comfortable. Rectagon once again showing off his accuracy, 99.24 up and above. Zason, 99.4, also doing quite well. There's another break from Fancy Lad, but Karcher is the one to trade it out, and that is much worse for South Korea, who are now down to just the FC on Zason and the backing combo from worst HR player in Parisia versus a three-way FC still intact for the United States. That lead's going to start to get a little bit bigger here. We're reaching toward the halfway mark. There goes worst HR player. There goes Zason, and the map may have actually just ended in one fell swoop.
I mean, you never know. There could still be a three-way miss from the FCs on the United States here. Surely that won't happen, though.
Clueless. Surely the United States would
I
not
tried my best.
three-way miss on... Surely the United States would not three-way miss on a DT4.
I'm trying my hardest right now. It's not happening. I'm sorry.
If you're projecting psychic energy to cast or curse the United States, and they've just got a shield up saying, no, sir, you are not going to break our concentration. You are not going to break our FCs. Thank you very little. Your best efforts will go awry, and instead, the United States will just continue to expand this lead out. It's about 600k and growing. This is going to be another ridiculous score if they can keep this up into the ending.
Yeah, the misses from Fancy, not going to matter at all. He's got his team to back him up.
He has half the score of anyone else on USA, and they're still winning by 800,000 points.
Make that a million.
This is disgusting. This is just DT abuse, and we do not stand for these sorts of things to continue much longer. Is this going to be another three-way, and they're not going to get 4 mil this time because of Fancy Lad's subpar compared to the rest of the team score? That still would be a really good score on the other side of the map.
Seems like it. I don't think any of the other players are likely to miss anytime soon as we get into the ending here.
All right,
yep,
so... Yeah, that's all right. United States says, okay, you guys can three-way FC free mod 4. That's fine. We'll three-way FC DT4. You know, anything you can do, we can match, and we stay on serve, as it were, 2-2. Another amazing performance from the team picking. With that's 3 maps in a row now, where the team to pick the map three-wayed it. Just the level of this match through 4 maps is incredible.
On the bright side, for South Korea, they only have one more DT map to worry about, and that is DT1, and I imagine United States is just eyeing that and saying, you know what, let's just go for that, get that out of the way. South Korea, in the meantime, no more free mods left to take advantage of. What do you go for next?
Maybe you stay in Gimmick and you go Hidden 2, or maybe No Mod 5? Because you've got players who are really good on those maps. I think those come to mind first to me.
I would not be terribly surprised to see maybe a Hard Rock pick from South Korea, but I don't think that's necessarily the best idea against the United States. The United States, I feel like, in general, this year has had an insane Hard Rock and Double Time roster, and you'd kind of want to shy away from really picking into that. I honestly think No Mod is probably going to be the play here from South Korea. Maybe No Mod 2, since the United States looked a bit shaky on that last week. Granted, a different type of No Mod 2 this one, but...
We'll say, talking about Hard Rock, the teams both played Hard Rock 2 last week, and South Korea had a score 660k better than the United States. So perhaps precision working in their favor, but USA missing some people, so maybe, you know, can't judge a ton from that. And it's going to be No Mod 4. So it is going to be that Nomad pool like you suggested, and it's going to be the Tech Nomad pick, which South Korea looked really good on last week. They lost to the only team they could have lost to in their head-to-head match, right? They played against Canada. Canada, the only team to outscore them on Nomad 4. They looked very good. But USA was missing Fancy Lad, who is one of the better tech players in the tournament scene, so that definitely contributed to their score being a little lower on last week's Nomad 4. But I do like this pick for South Korea, continuing to stay away from mechanics and stay in maps that are in their comfort zone. We know how good Karcher and worst HR player on these tech maps.
Even no KJK on these tech maps can be a force to be reckoned with. On the side of the United States, though, Taquito and a Fancy Lad, as you were saying, very, very scary No Mod 4 players as a whole. They have the all-rounders Rectagon and Tommy to finish that off. Somewhat surprised not to see some of the new players like Bashi or Decatan in for this, but it's going to be the core 4.
Yeah, I think Decaden kind of feels like mostly a mechanics fill, like he's in on some of the kind of aimy stuff. Bashi, I believe mostly is in for like precision and low AR, right? He would play like Hidden 2 and Hard Rock 2. So I think this is probably the optimal roster for the United States on this.
The only reason I'm questioning that is just because Bashi did FC the Nomad 4 last week.
Oh, okay. Fair.
But nonetheless, you could pretty much put a lot of people in on the United States roster.
Yeah.
You could probably just argue that, yeah, this is a good roster.
USA has so much depth on their squad, and especially on a tech map like this that has so many different aspects to it. You've got some bursts, you've got some streams, you've got some cut patterns, plus all of the normal slider aim you would expect in a Nomad 4 like this. Really calls upon a lot of different skill sets that the United States has a lot of players for. But South Korea as well, early break from worst HR player before they even got to that first cut pattern. And into the cut streams, we're going to go. This is a place where if you're comfortable with this map, you're going to hit this very, very easily. And if you're not, it's going to show. And it's going to be Rectagon. First break for the USA.
Rating out worst HR players, earlier miss, so combo advantage in favor of South Korea. We get into the first hard part here. Kokoro is going to be dropping as well. That's not answered by anyone on the side of the United States.
And look at the accuracy as well. You've got 99 on Takedo. You've got mid-high 98 on Fancy Lad. Meanwhile, it's 96 on Mamiya Kokoro. It's 96 on No KJK. So that's going to help the United States. Worst HR player, despite the early break, is at 99 AC. But United States just has that slight AC advantage and the combo lead that they're still holding on to. They're going to need to find breaks if South Korea want to bring this gap back. But instead, Tamamiya Kokoro breaking again. It is traded by Takedo, though. So now things even out. Now it gets really interesting if South Korea can hold. But it's Tamamiya Kokoro and No KJK breaking. That is not an opportune time to break.
That is the one FC I think they needed to hold there. I'm not sure what Kokoro was doing there. I think that was a cursor adjustment with the tablet. Yeah, that was definitely a grip adjustment. Probably just not having the most opportune break after that. Takedo going to be finding another miss. Combo is still well in favor of the United States now with worst HR player breaking as well. Utami and Fancy looking to just continue their FCs throughout this section.
We said you need to be scared of United States as top players on these tech maps, and they're showing exactly why. Fancy Lad, I mean, you see him on every tech map leaderboard in the game, and you also see him at the top of the leaderboard in his matches on the Nomad 4s. A couple late breaks come in. Rectagon, Amiya Kokoro, worst HR players don't want to go, but Utami, Fancy Lad holding FCs, Takedo with some decent backing combo. United States, they're going to put up the first break point here. It's going to be on the Nomad 4. It seemed like a decent pick on paper for South Korea, and Karcher will look to bring home a possible FC here, but the United States just has so much more depth on this map and has so much more backing combo and score.
There's not too much you can do against two FCs on this map.
No.
Solid scores from the United States on that, taking their first break point, and I imagine it's going to be an instant DT1 pick here to follow suit. Monko's already in the lobby.
There it is.
There it is.
Yeah, you kind of had to call that one, right? It was always just let's continue going with these fast DT picks because clearly from the first couple, United States has a big edge, and now they've got a break point in their back pocket, so even less pressure on the one DT that's left. If you didn't have if you already hadn't decreased the amount of pressure on the team enough by winning those first two DTs by what 1.5, 2.5 million points, now you're up a break point and just going to pick another one and say, all right, let's just run away with this.
We'll get the D2 roster in real quick. Ring the bells. Rectagon, Swada, Monko, Utami coming in here. We'll see if South Korea can manage what seems to be the impossible, considering the previous two double-time picks.
Yeah, this would be asking a lot of South Korea to try to take a break point on this map. It's, what is that, a combined 3.2 million points between DT4 and DT2? I mean, what do you do against that?
Let's see, more importantly, I think, what the United States can do on this map. If they can pull out another three-way FC or even more than that, that would just kind of be dumb.
Well, let's go by the trend here. They put up 4.2 million on DT2. They put up 3.8 million on DT4. So now they would go 3.2 million. Nah, that's too low. There's no way they scored that low, right?
I mean, it is possible. This map is a bit more prone to random misses, I'd say, just because of the nature of the map itself. This is a Jonesan or Evil Elvis map, so a lot of awkward aim-oriented patterns, like that cross-screen right there that you just saw. So it is possible to find misses on stuff like that. FCing this map is, I'd say, a bit harder than your standard speed-oriented DT2, if you're good at that sort of thing. But we'll see. Maybe I'll just regret saying those words, and then I'll see a 4-way FC. Who knows?
I would be beyond shocked, I think, by a 4-way FC from any team on this map. But United States has it underway. The accuracy on South Korea, by the way, they have a 3-way FC, and none of those 3 players have dropped so much as 100, and as soon as I say that, Zason breaks. Meanwhile, USA doing similar things on 2 of their players, but it's a 4-way FC versus now a double FC, and United States can start to take a lead here as we pass the 1/4 mark. That's some combo advantage in their favor, and that's a 100K lead already.
Surely the United States 4-way misses on the next chorus. It'll happen at one of these points. I'm going to make it happen.
I appreciate your determination for cursing your own nation, but so far it is not working out.
All right. Tyson dropping another miss.
There goes
dropping the FC. 1 FC to 4 halfway through the map. Still holding on to the SS's on Karcher and Monko now. I was about to say Sawada, but he did drop in 100.
You know, the math on 4 against 1, I may not have an advanced degree in theoretical physics or calculus or anything like that, but I know that 4 is bigger than 1. It is 3 is bigger than 1 now, though. That is a break from Sawada. I guess that's kind of his calling card. He just misses on air, as you mentioned on the DT2 earlier, but it's still a 3-way FC.
He's permanently cursed, I'm sorry. Ever since Corsace happened, he's been just cursed. Rectagon actually going to be slider breaking there. It's not going to be enough yet.
It's not going to matter, but it's not going to not matter either. There goes Parisia. It's Monko and Utami, though, holding down the fort. And the accuracy is above 99 for 3 of the 4 players from USA. This is just DT abuse. It's the end of the DT abuse. If you're South Korea, you can, wipe the sweat from your brow knowing that's the end of it. But it's done the damage. It's put in the work. It's going to be a 4-2 lead on the back of 3 DT picks and a break point for the USA.
And another 3.8 million, nay, even higher than that. Just under 4 million.
Get the 4 mil with the spinners. Come on, you can do it. They did it. Thank you, Long Ending Spinner, for a free 45,000 points per player. It gets them over 4 mil for the second time tonight. That is the United States operating at full power. Also, once again, Karcher FCs, because of course he does, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Karcher needs his team to step up massively right now for the next few picks. Down a break point. This next pick is crucial for South Korea to win and stay in this game.
But what I think, like, you just have to go somewhere different, right? Like, you go Hard Rock 2 maybe, or Hidden 2, like something that's still a gimmick but in one of those mod pools maybe. I don't think you go Nomad 2 or 3. Maybe you go Nomad 5, but the picks just get really hard when your opponent, it's like the giant squid that always has something extended to reel you back in when you try to escape its grasp. You try to go into a different mod pool, and they pull you back in and say, no, you don't get to do that. We win that too. It's just because you get boxed in closer and closer, and the picks get harder and harder.
You were saying Nomad 2 would not actually be good for South Korea here. I'd kind of say the opposite, actually. All things considered, but... Actually, no, never mind. I just remembered the United States has like 3 players that can FC that at a whim. Never mind. Okay. Anyway.
That was the thing. Like, United States has a really good tapping roster this year. They kind of fixed the problems that they had They've got Sawada, they've got Utami, like they've got Rectagon who just eats Nomad 2s. I mean, this team is super good at tapping, so I don't think that's ever an option for South Korea. About the only team that would maybe pick a Nomad 2 against USA would be like Canada or Germany. And it is going to be, after all, the Hard Rock 2. So it is going to be some tapping, but it's going to be lower BPM, it's going to be precision, it's going to be some finger control as well.
You did mention South Korea having by far a better score on this than the United States last week. See if they can replicate that.
Map is fairly dissimilar in several ways to last week's, but it does still bring in, you know, some tapping, some finger control, some accuracy requirements. You know, you hear all those, you know, the bursts and streams and doubles in the song, some cut patterns as well. Always feels like there's a lot of places to trip up on precision maps. I feel it's just easy to break on CS 6.5.
It's even more so amplified by the fact that this is such a short map, 1 minute 50 seconds in the length. Those early misses actually will matter quite a bit. There's not enough map length to really offset those early types of misses.
See how it goes as the GLHFs come out. We quickly get into this one. It's Rectagon, Decaton, Fancy Lad, and Utami. So we do get one of those new players in. I actually thought Bashi would be on Unprecision, but he's not. Against, guess what? Karcher, worst HR player, joined by Parisia and Allegrissimo this time. And this really feels like a must-win for South Korea. If you drop this, you're down 5-2. United States just has a stack of match points. So we will see how they can fare. Very short one. Any break will be punished just about anywhere in the map. Gotta be on your toes the whole way through.
Just like that. Decaden, the first miss on the repeat slider there.
Early advantage to the side of South Korea. Again, very little to worry about with Karcher, very little probably to worry about with worst HR player. We've seen some of their supporting players have some difficulty. It's going to be worst HR player the break, but it's traded out with Fancy Lad. Still advantage South Korea, 3 FCs to 2. And there goes Rectagon as well. Hard Rock Specialist Rectagon breaking on the precision here. And now South Korea in a very, very good spot. Already halfway through, and they take a 200,000 point lead.
Pretty much 3 FCs. Karcher did miss, I believe, in the very beginning. Okay, we'll make that 2 now with Brazia missing. Only to 1 FC on the side of the United States, however. Combo lead is going to be slightly in favor. Actually, no, not slightly. I forgot that worst HR player is recovering combo nicely. 1/4 of the map remaining. 200k in the score lead. So any miss from any player outside of the United States, Decaden.
Yikes, that was unfortunate to watch.
Yeah, that's just an unlucky miss aim, all things considered. It happens with these CS 6.5 maps.
Wait a second. Allegrissimo with the late break.
I don't think it's going to matter.
Yeah, USA doesn't have enough combo.
And with Rectagon breaking as well. And there is the FCs from Utami and Karcher, but very solid backing scores from pretty much everyone on the South Korean side.
So 1 miss from Karcher, so he did break, like, literally, did he just miss the first note?
The first 2 notes.
Something like that. Yeah, I guess it would have been one of the first 2 notes there. Accuracy on Karcher and Utami, really impressive, but just a better team score there. South Korea, I mean, lowest score was 660k. USA had 2 players below 600k. And hey, look, all the talk about Nomad 2, and USA are going to be the ones to pick it. It's going to be Massacre as their next pick. This could be their last pick, for all we know, if they win it and then win the next point on South Korea's, but minutes away from that. I do think, like, we kind of discussed this already. USA just has a really strong tapping roster this year, and they are going all tapping all the time this match. They go 3 DTs, and now their 4th pick, they go Nomad 2, just to round things out.
You say tapping roster, but more importantly, the flow aim on these players, I think, is what we want to also be looking at. Rectagon, well-known hard rock flow aim player, pretty much has only stream maps in his top plays. Tommy, no stranger to those as well, with a Wings of Justice Hard Rock FC, for example. South Korea having their own flow aim beast, though, with Karcher obviously being the standout one with the famous $1,000 Yomiuri.
A little known play. People may or may not be familiar with, not sure. Don't know that one really made the rounds on social media or anything. Well, this is an interesting USA roster. I don't know that I was expecting it to be what it is here. Rectagon Utami, of course, but then it's Decaden and Monko.
I can get behind this.
I'm fine with it, yeah. No complaints here. Just
Decadent and Monko are more than proficient at these types of maps. I have full faith that they can both probably FC this. Whether or not they're feeling confident, and clearly they're feeling confident if they're in, so.
Other side. Karcher versus HR player, joined by Parisia and Zayson. Zayson, very, very good tapping player. Typically pretty good on the flow aim as well. We'll see how things go. South Korea do need a break point at some point in this match here if they want to have a chance. And, I mean, we've seen some somewhat unexpected results on this map before. I don't know if that's going to repeat itself here. We saw Australia taking this one over Canada, but early break from Zayson is going to help the United States out to start things off with a small lead.
No one missing on that first little spaced part there. It's not going to be a huge lead.
No. 50K. Gotta take a little time to build into this map. Get through the couple space patterns in the intro, and then you get into some more difficult streams. You got a couple of little slider bursts, I guess, kind of built into the streams. And then little slider break there from Decaden. Nope, it was Bancho. He did not break. Utami, though, I think actually did.
Yeah, that was an actual break from Utami. Worst HR player. Never mind, that was a Bancho miss from worst HR player. What is even happening anymore? But
I don't know. But
slight combo lead towards South Korea. It's going to give them the lead. Zayson dropping, however, is going to just shift that right back over to the United States.
Things get pretty difficult, though. There's some more space patterns. It catches out Parisia, and that is now down to just 2 FCs for South Korea. Who else but Karcher and worst HR player? But they're against tough competition here with Rectagon Decaden and Monko also holding. They make it through that space stream. Coming into the last quarter, USA's lead is growing, but there is still time if they miss in the late moments. It's Utami with a break. Not the person that South Korea would like to see missing. It's got to be somebody from the other three, and it's going to be Monko.
Worst HR player also dropped the FC, though. And it's just not going to be enough.
And Karcher drops another FC with, I don't know, what's that, maybe 200s, 300s? But unfortunately, it's a double FC for the United States, Rectagon and Decaden. Man, I feel for Karcher. That man is having an outrageous match, and unfortunately, the USA just has a better team, and so his efforts are going to not. 99.82, 3x100 FC, and they end up losing it because the United States had an extra FC and some better backing score as well on Monko. Shout out to Karcher, though.
Well, not out of it quite yet. Match point for the United States. South Korea still have another pick of their choosing. They are going to have to get that break point from the United States, though. Hard Rock 2 worked out well for them, so maybe a Hard Rock 1 pick wouldn't be necessarily good here?
I could see another Hard Rock here. Hard Rock 1 or Hard Rock 3. It really, I mean, you're saying, you know, make sure, first order of business is make sure it's something that Karcher will FC, which is not difficult because that's pretty much everything in the pool. And then the second order of business is who are our most consistent backing scorers, because the United States backing scorers have in general been a little more consistent than South Korea's. So it's a tough ask here. You've got the Nomad 5 still, you've got the Hidden 2 still, you do have those other 2 Hard Rocks. They're going to take some time on this one, I think, and it's a tough question. I mean, I don't have a good answer for what I would pick here either, but it is going to be the Hard Rock 3 at the end.
I think this is the first time we've actually seen this in a match this weekend.
I will burst that bubble because it was played in Romania versus China.
That's unlucky.
Sorry, it happened to be played in the match that I commentated earlier today, so I saw that one firsthand. But yeah,
well,
it has
a fan favorite. Fan
And
favorite, nonetheless.
Yeah, this is such a great song. Hard Rock, high BPM, Amy alt. I don't know who that even favors in this one. Karcher will do things, a worst HR player will do things, but man, this feels like a toss-up between these teams.
Yeah, because then you have Fancy and Rectigon also doing things on this map, just to counteract that. It's gonna come down to which team, obviously, is more consistent on this map, and we'll see how South Korea fares on it. They did well on the Hard Rock too. See if they can replicate the magic on this map.
I mean, it's only the one break point between the teams, right? Like, this is not a huge difference, but it's so far been enough to keep the USA in the lead. But man, this is, I don't know, just going into this one, not knowing what to expect. It feels like a lot of the previous maps, we've had an idea of how it's going to go, and this one I don't have that feeling either direction to guess at which team is likely to come out on top. But it's a match point for the United States. It's the first of two that they will have before a potential tiebreaker after them both. And it's South Korea's final pick of the match, so you've got to think that they're feeling pretty good about it. We will see if they can stave off being sent down to the doom and gloom and that is the dungeon of the lower bracket for at least one more map. And what is the client doing? That was a new one.
Finally, 15 BPM.
When
Long
the
have we
Hard Rock
waited.
3 is too fast.
We've waited so long. It's finally here.
The HT mod bracket. I'm all here for it. All right, in we go. Rectigun, Fancy Lad, Decaden, Utami, Karcher, Parisia, Alagrisma, worst HR player. Who will be the best performers? I'm looking at Karcher, as always, but after that, it's a lot of different people who can do well.
Everyone getting through that slider aim section well off enough. Slight accuracy advantage on the side of South Korea. Very slight, though.
This is going to be Parisia finding the first break. It's going to give the United States that bit of an early lead. This one's pretty long, 3.5 minutes, and it's very consistent, so there's a lot of combo. Fancy Lad, the first break for USA. It's going to even things out. We are dead even. 3 FCs per team, similar accuracy basically everywhere. A little lower in Alagrisimo, but not by a ton.
Anyone misses here. Alagrisimo going to be the first one to miss. Not traded by anyone else, it seems like. They're going to see that the break. Still anyone's game. 1-6 stream after this. We'll see if anyone misses there. Nope. This is where the map starts getting a bit hard.
And this could just be where it's won or lost. If the United States can continue to hold this triple FC and the backing combo on Fancy Lad, they're going to continue to increase this lead. But South Korea can kind of stave it off with the double FC on Karcher. We're breaking on breaks on nothing! And now, it's South Korea combo lead.
We get into the hardest part of the map, though. Can these two FCs on worst HR player and Karcher hold? That's what they need them to do right now. They're going to need one of the FCs on Decadent and Utami to miss pretty soon.
Oh man, there's another break from Rectigun. There's
There
a break
goes
from Decadent. Okay, it's gonna go over. There's
Worst HR player does trade it. It's going to stay in the favor of the United States, but not for long.
It should go over to Korea. They've got Parisia and Alagrismo both on backing combo if they can both hold into this ending. Karcher, of course, doing his part with the FCU. Tommy matching him. Fancy Lad the backing 800 combo. USA needs at least one break from one of those 3 combos, though, if they want to be able to bring this back in the late seconds. We come into the ending with it just being 50k or less.
Any combo
Oh my
outside
God.
Worst HR player and Decadent break right now, it has huge implications to whoever is going to win this. And the ending is so volatile, too, with the slider aim. There goes Alagrismo, the first drop. Utami trades it immediately after the FC is gone, and just like that, South Korea 5-4.
Wow, that came down to the wire. That late break from Utami. Karcher just holds the FC. That man is on a mission for South Korea. Unbelievable. Another FC.
He is on a tear, and there is no signs of stopping him.
Unbelievable.
5-4, United States have their last pick. No more tapping. What do they go for?
Hard Rock 1.
Would be
everything.
A ballsy pick, all things considered, since they did lose Hard Rock and both Hard Rock picks so far.
You don't go Hard Rock 1 here. Everything left is so volatile, right? Like, Nomad 3 feels volatile. Nomad 5, Hidden 1, Hidden 2. I mean, it's all 3 Hidden still available. Neither of these teams have wanted to touch the mod. Oh,
I think Hidden is probably what we're going to be likely seeing here. What Hidden map is up for debate, but I think Hidden is probably likely here.
If I'm USA, I'm taking my tack pause right now and giving myself an extra little bit of time to think about. This is the same situation, you know, it's 5-4 again, just like it was last week, where it just comes down to those late couple of picks from both teams to try and determine the ending of the match. That's a lot of stress and a lot of pressure going into one pick each at the very end. And we know what South Korea is capable of on these tiebreakers, so you're scared of that, and it's Hidden 3. This is what USA is going to stake their match point on their own pick on, is going to be alt flow aim Hidden. It's a very difficult map, especially this late on into the match, but USA has some very good Hidden players, so I do respect this pick a lot.
You're talking about volatile maps, though. This map is unarguably one of the most volatile, I'd say, at least remaining in the pool so far. There are so many potential breakpoints here that can just cost you this map, and the ending goes absolutely bonkers with its difficulty.
Yeah, the KIs in this map, and especially the last quarter, are so difficult to be consistent on. I mean, I don't think I've seen anyone combo through the entire ending. I think there's maybe one reverse choke on a Koro, and everybody else that I've seen take an FC into the ending has broken in one of those last very difficult patterns. So it's all about the consistency in those KIs and trying to do as best you can in the ending. Hidden, as we said, this is a skill set that has not been entered by either of these teams. But USA does feel like they maybe have a little bit of an advantage. You know, you usually see Karcher going Hard Rock on the free mods, for instance, if he doesn't go no mod. So going Hidden maybe takes away a little of that advantage that they would have for him. I don't know.
Karcher's more than comfortable on Hidden, all things considered. Whenever he's not playing Hard Rock, he's playing Hidden Hard Rock. And solo play in particular, so more than well-versed with Hidden. Should be able to do well on this. Worst HR player known for this kind of stuff. Nope, KJK as well. Korea having a pretty strong roster for this map, all things considered. But they're going up against Utami, Fancy, Takedo. Top 3 Hidden players in the United States, I'd say.
Yep.
Seconds in with the fill.
This is 2 very dangerous rosters on a map like this. Both sides have players who can absolutely pop off and carry this. If we're ever going to see an FC on this map, it wouldn't surprise me for it to happen here. But with the pressure mounting to about as high as it's ever going to get, those little shakes and those little bits of nerves can really play havoc. So in we go, USA with another match point here, trying to close it out with their last pick before being forced into a potential tiebreaker. I think we'll learn, you know, relatively early on how comfortable the teams are, because the patterns start coming at you quickly and they really don't stop. So we'll see how the players are doing. And that's
goodbye half the lobby.
Wow, that's 4 misses, but 3 of them were from South Korea. So USA will have a little bit of an early lead if they can hold on to the 3 FCs, you know, kind of into the first verse and next section into the Ki after. Oh boy.
And luckily, it's not going to matter all that much unless the United States somehow manages to pull off a 3-way FC on this map. They won't. If they do, I will gladly eat my own words, but I am fairly confident they won't. This map is ridiculous. 3 minutes and 40 seconds of length, so these early misses are not going to dent the score too much for South Korea here.
There's a break from Malagrisimo.
Yeah, that miss from Malagrisimo is going to matter a bit more. However, he was one of the ones to miss earlier. We're just going to need somebody to trade it. There goes Utami on the side of the United States, so finally traded But we're
And
going to need to
there's
see more Karcher and Decadent trading at the same time.
So it still just doesn't matter. It's Taquito Fancy Lad against worst HR player Nope KJK. It's basically dead even combo because all those breaks early on were at the same spot. Taquito is capable of putting on a big carry performance on some of these difficult hiddens. It's another break from Decade, and it's not going to be the end of the world. But their backing combo not being the same, similar to South Korea, will help South Korea try to, kind of scrape away at this lead. At the spinner, you're going to see it's just 66,000 points. That's halfway through, and things are only going to get more difficult the rest of the way.
Yeah, the combos need to hold on both sides right now. Nope KJK, worst HR player, Taquito, and Fancy. If any of those 4 players break, things get dicey. As it stands right now, it is within 50k points, and this is we're getting to the part where there's a stream, and I'm very interested.
That big spaced pattern could just determine everything right here. Because
very interested to see it.
Oh man, you can see people break, and it just be the end of the map, or you can see everyone hold, and we continue to raise the stakes even higher and higher.
Here it is.
How are we gonna do?
Here it is, right here.
Fancy Lad's the
Fancy
break,
drops a high
and that
combo.
is South Korea. And that is South Korea now can run with this into the last Ki. It's going to be the lead going over their way. Are the USA going to be pushed to a tiebreaker by this South Korean team? It's an algorithmic break, but it's right with Taquito. That's
just
it.
like that worst HR player, Nope KJK, holding on to 1K combos at the ending here. They are going to get this score lead, and they're going to run with it as far away as they can. Can they get the tiebreaker? It is looking so likely. 200k points. And I think it's all but confirmed now. UNG.
It's done. It's done and dusted. It's signed, sealed, and delivered. It's worst HR player on a rampage. It's Nope KJK backing him up. And it is South Korea forcing the USA to their first tiebreaker against a team not named Germany in I don't even know how many years. South Korea has come back from 5-3 to force the TB here in the semifinals. It's unbelievable. Worst HR player FCs, just to put the exclamation mark on it.
Yeah, in case Karcher underperforms, don't worry. You got a worst HR player there to back you up. Say, like, don't worry, I got you. And just like that, the custom song tiebreaker is now going to be played. You're saying the first time the United States has been taken to tiebreaker, I believe since 2018, versus the United Kingdom in grand finals. That was the last time they have been taken to tiebreaker outside of Germany's 2020 tiebreaker.
And this is a scary tiebreaker. Because remember what happened last week on the tiebreaker that South Korea played against Canada. Karcher, worst HR player, heck map tiebreaker, going absolutely bonkers. And that can happen again. And it would not surprise me. Those two are playing amazing Osu tonight. And this is, yes, the United States, as long ago as that may have been, how long ago was Nomad 4 played? About half an hour ago? 35 minutes ago? USA did win that. But tiebreaker is a whole different thing altogether.
The United States has experience with these tiebreakers. And everyone just I guess I can't blame them.
Yeah, we get that tactical pause here. A little timeout available to teams. So we get 2-minute break in between that last map and the TB. Is Bashi in for tiebreaker on this USA team when you've got Utami, Fancy, Taquito,
no, I think he just wanted to say hi. He has not played a map this entire match, so I think he just wanted to say hi. How's it going, Bashi? Say hi to chat.
Yeah, he's keeping slot 1 warm for whoever ends up being in that. So, looking back to the Nomad 4, we had USA with the roster of Fancy Lad, Utami, Taquito, Rectagon. We had South Korea with a roster of Karcher, worst HR player, Nope KJK, and Amamiya Kokoro. I'm guessing it's at least most of those players still in, because this is a fairly tech-heavy tiebreaker again. Will we get any roster changes, though? It's going to be interesting to see.
They got 2 more minutes to get back into the lobby.
Go look at the map in editor. Whatever spots are super difficult that you know about, take a look. See how everything feels. Looks like it's going to be Parisia and Zason joining presumably worst HR player Karcher. Okay, not Parisia. We'll see. I don't know who it's actually going to be. Players just kind of hanging out in the lobby for a little while. But you know, you go, you take a look at the map, you make sure you've got the right timing, you make sure everything is set, and just try to mentally prepare, because the stress of this tiebreaker is huge. I mean, one of these teams, you win this tiebreaker, you're guaranteed top 3. Lose, you drop down, and you face some very stiff competition in losers bracket next week. Loser of this gets, I believe, China-Russia winner, and then Canada, and then would have to then face off against the winner of Canada versus the loser of Poland, Germany. So there's a lot on the line here, because that's not a match you want to have to deal with in the losers bracket at all.
It's most certainly not something you'd want to face when you're facing potential elimination. Let's see how it goes.
And it is...
We get into the custom song tiebreaker.
Oh, man.
First tiebreaker of the semis week. I am scared.
Yeah, this is terrifying. Absolutely. Just no other words for it, because these teams have so many players who can pop off on a map like this. And we've seen it happen. So we've got Zason and Parisia as the fill players for South Korea, joining worst HR player and Karcher. So they do swap out both of the players that were in for Nomad 4. So they are switching up. Zason, obviously, you know, a little more tapping focused. Parisia has been a little bit more fill in generic sense. Tommy Taquito, Fancy Lad, Rectagon, that's the squad, right? That's when you look at this USA roster that they have this year. Those are the 4 players that really jump out as these guys are going to be in for a lot of different things. These guys are going to be the skill cap core 4 players of the team. And it is all down to both of these 4-man rosters to do whatever they can. Taquito on his preference mod hidden, everybody else running no mod. In we go. A semifinals winner bracket tiebreaker with a lot on the line. And it's the first break out of worst HR player, but as this is a 5.5-minute long map, those early breaks are not going to be that impactful. It's going to start mattering in a little bit, but not yet. Only 200 combo behind when you've got as much combo as this has. It's not going to be the biggest deal.
We'll give the United States at least some breathing room in the early stages here.
And this map just doesn't let up. And it's, you know, with it being this original song, this custom made for OWC, it's going to throw a lot of things out. And it's a slider break for Rectagon.
Getting
And
slow slidered there.
Man, that's why you practice, is to know where the slow sliders are, right? Oh, man, that is a shame. Not where you want to be.
Oh, no, never mind. That was Bancho.
Okay, it was Bancho. All right, well, all that might be nothing. Man, I really wish that bug could be fixed, but it is what it is. And that might be a real break from Fancy Lad. We'll see.
Looks fairly likely.
Yes, it is.
This is going to give combo advantage to South Korea here. Oh my god, how many of those were real breaks?
We're going to see here, but if they're real, that's Utami Taquito and Rectagon. Zason, worst HR player, both breaking. But it's
I think those were all real breaks.
Those were all real.
Those were real breaks. Parisia and Karcher are the only FCs remaining right now.
Oh my goodness. Now we're only a third of the way through. There's a ton of maps still to go. A lot of places you could still break. But South Korea has a sizable combo lead with that double FC on Karcher and Parisia. Karcher is just willing this team to the finish line. He does not want to go down to losers bracket. And he is making his case for, you know, MVP of this tournament, because my lord, what a valuable performance he has brought to his team. There is a break from Zason, but you just got to be watching Karcher and Parisia. Those are the 2 that really matter over on the South Korea side. As long as those 2 hold, they're not in the worst spot ever.
Yeah, there's not that much supporting combo. Worst HR player is building it up slightly. But if those two FCs break, it's right back over to the United States.
Okay.
Halfway through the map.
100K. That is not negligible. 100K lead. There's a break from Parisia. It's traded. It's not traded. It's a break from Zayson as well. USA takes the combo lead, but Karcher is still clinging for dear life to his full combo. He's got 98 act, and he's being backed up by worst HR player. It's a break from Rectigon as well. This is so... It's on Karcher's shoulders. The match is in his hands. Takedo breaks his trade with Parisia. That's the advantage of South Korea. Utami breaks as well.
Fancy Lad is the only combo remaining. Oh wait,
dear.
Takedo was a
Takedo's
Bancho break, but
Okay.
still very slight combo lead off those two high combos from the United States. But Karcher holding on to dear life with the FC right now. Third of the map remaining. It's going to be keeping the score lead in favor of South Korea for now.
If Karcher breaks, it all collapses. It all falls down around him. But as long as he can hold it, he does it. It's a break, but it's Fancy Lad trading it. So it's actually not quite as bad as it could have been, but it is still Takedo on a 1200 combo. It is Rectigon on 500, Utami on a 400. United States might just be able to start pulling us back. There are a sizable amount of combos on the side of South Korea, though. Look at worst HR player, look at Zayson, look at Parisia. Those are pretty decent combo, and there's a break from Utami to help things out for South Korea even more. They're going to hold on to this lead.
Takedo needs to break, though, real soon.
Oh, it's Rectigon gone too!
This combo from Takedo is still keeping the United States in this game, and as long as he holds that, any miss from the Korean side is going to matter just that much more. This combo with hidden, too! This is insane, and it's slowly shifting over to the United States. It's slowly getting there. It's Rectigon.
Worst HR player is shaking so hard. Oh my, we're coming down to the wire here. And there goes Takedo. He breaks, that might be it. That Rectigon still got 1,000 combo. It's a break from Zayson, but it's a break from Fancy Lad as well. I think South Korea might be doing this.
Rectigon and worst HR player are battling it out right now, but Zayson and Parisia are there with the high combos to trade it out as well. Nothing on the side of the United States outside of Rectigon and Fancy Lad right now as we get into the ending of this map. Is there enough time? Worst HR player drops, Zayson drops, Rectigon drops, Parisia and Karcher still holding on to the combos. I think South Korea have just done the impossible. They have taken the United States down to the losers bracket for the first time since 2018 Grand Finals. The United States, the reigning champions, are now facing elimination in the finals weekend.
South Korea, 2 weeks in a row, these comeback victories that look impossible, they make them possible. Karcher just goes off on these maps, and the backing combos were there whenever they needed them. The upset of the year, anybody beating the United States is going to be an incredible upset, but in a fashion like that, from 5-3 down to win 3 maps in a row to send the USA down to losers bracket, I mean, that is just a script that you would take to Hollywood.
Since 2018, the United States have been on a tear, losing the Grand Finals first time to the United Kingdom, getting it back on the bracket reset, and from then on, not dropping a single match. 2019, 2020, 2021. South Korea have just put an end to 4 years of dominance. And they're going to be advancing to top 3.
I mean, that's surely the longest win streak anyone's had in OWC. Just comes crashing down at the hands of the South Korea team that, yes, they have Karcher, yes, they have worst HR player, but I can't imagine that too many people really thought that they could do it. But they did. They had the confidence, they had the faith, they didn't fall apart when they went down. And they earned this victory in a way that very few teams can say they did against the United States in the last 7 years of OS World Cup. And that sets up top 3, South Korea, guaranteed. They'll await the winner of Poland, Germany. And in words that I haven't said as a caster in OWC, that's how long it's been. The USA will go to the losers bracket They'll face off against the winner of China versus Russia, and then they have to face off, if they win that, against one of Canada, Poland, or Germany in the losers bracket. It's a gauntlet for them that has now been thrown down at the hands of South Korea.
Let's just have Poland win against Germany. Let's just make the winners bracket South Korea versus Poland. Just throw everything on its side and have the first and second place fight to the death in the losers bracket just to get third.
This throws everything you thought you knew about Ost World Cup out the window. Who knows what'll happen now, because that just changes things up. The USA that's been in the winners finals so many times will finally be trying to make their way back up from losers. But South Korea, they get to their... I don't actually know the last time South Korea was in a winners final, in all honesty. But it's been a long time coming, and it's Karcher, and it's Worst HR player, and it's their surrounding players that have done it. And I don't even know what else to say. Just an unbelievable match. 2 weeks in a row to make these kinds of comebacks is just astonishing, and it says so much about their ability to play from behind and their confidence and their poise. I don't know why that bracket has Korea down there.
Yeah, that should not be Korea.
That kind of messes
Don't worry,
things up.
Korea did win.
I promise Korea won. We all saw it. It's right there on the screen. We've got a VOD and everything. So, that does it for tonight.
What a match to end things off
Wow.
with.
Incredible day of OS, and I think we all get a well-deserved bit of rest, whether it's late night or early morning. Take a breather, get some sleep, take a nap, get some food, whatever it may be, because we're going to be on a bit of a break. We come back tomorrow morning at 14 UTC. It's going to be China versus Russia, 14 UTC losers bracket. It's going to be Poland versus Germany, the other semifinals tomorrow afternoon. And, you know, if you don't already have a banner supporting South Korea in this World Cup, I think you might want to go get one, because they feel just a little bit like a team of destiny here. Head over to that store. If you support this South Korean squad making this run, let your profile show it, because, man, oh man, they feel like they might be on a historic run in this World Cup. Before we close, any last second thoughts, Mr. Fiery?
I'm just astonished. I never thought I'd see the day that the United States finally lose a match ever since the dominant run from 2019, 2020, 2021. I mean, I was a part of that. I was a direct part of that, and I was just like, wow, this team is just insane, and everyone in the United States is insane. It just felt like they had an endless stream of talent, and Korea finally put an end to that. Finally put an end to that era today. It's now up to the United States to prove that they can still do that in the losers bracket. That they can still compete. That's all I got.
All right. Well, we'll be heading off. Be back here 7 hours or so, a little more, for those matches tomorrow. Deep breath required. South Korea has done what many thought was impossible. They head onward to the winners bracket final. We'll find out who they'll be facing next week. Tomorrow, we'll be finding out who the USA will be facing in the losers bracket already, and some more to come. For now, I've been this one guy. He's been Fiery Rage. Thank you for being here for this incredible, unprecedented match. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the last couple matches here in OS World Cup semifinals week. Goodbye for
See
now.
you then.